What's going on, my fellow A-plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode. It is I, your Morphinominal host, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's so fantastic to certainly see you here for another episode of A-plus Morphinominal, your stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider review and news right here on our YouTube page. Also going live over on Facebook as well, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for kicking off your Saturday right with us as we're set to go ahead and bring in Dino Fury episode number 2. We got the review for you guys set up today. We also got some look into some new voice actors that have certainly joined the Dino Fury season. We're going to talk a little bit about the Hasbro investors call this past week. Also have a little bit of an insight in regards to the upcoming Heir to the Darkness. I believe it's the one shot that's coming from Boom Studios, also with a couple of other things for you guys as well. So pretty stacked episode. So thank you very much for certainly joining us. I hope everybody's had their breakfast. Maybe you got your coffee, your orange juice. Sit back, relax, and let's have a fantastic time discussing some Power Rangers and Tokusatsu this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you very much, everybody, for certainly joining us. Who's in our live chat real quick? Let's see who's actually joining us today. We got Johnny Marrero. You guys know how I love to do my shout outs to everybody that comes through. Issei, what's up, Issei? Appreciate you coming in and joining us today. We got Doomsday in the house also. I appreciate you stopping by. Frankie's here also. We got Dino Real Soul making his presence known. Matthew's in the house also with us today. I'm Handsome Dude is certainly here as well. We got Dino Fury in the house. Adrian Perez, another Perez out here, man. I feel like we're making the rounds. We should just have a gigantic family reunion at some point in time. Who else we got in here? JB says, what is in the house? Good to see you, buddy, as always, man. Jaden Groves making his presence felt also. Marcelino's in here today with us also. We got Skinny Boy in here as well. Who else we got? Edward Sanchez, the productions crew coming in back to back. Edward Sanchez Productions and Shadow Nova Productions also. We got Alexis in the house coming through, and of course Tony Robinson gracing us with his presence as well. And Jaden wants to go ahead and let us know episode is in fact written by Alwyn Becca and them. Yes, sir, they certainly are. I love the fact that even Simon Bennett came out and really talked about, I think it may be some of the past interviews that he did last week, really talked about how these are this is the same writers that we've known from the past several seasons, but you really get the opportunity to see what these writers are really capable of doing when they have somebody else taking the handcuffs off of their creativity, if you will. And listen, two back-to-back episodes. Thrilled when it comes to Dino Fury, to be perfectly honest with you guys. I know I'm pretty sure I said your name, Dino Real Soul. I thought I said it at the top, so I apologize if I did miss it, but I thought I hit it. But guys, listen, we're here to go ahead and talk everything for you guys. But before we do, you know how we like to do at the end of our episodes, A+morphinominal@gmail.com. If you have yourselves a live viewer question that you certainly want to go ahead and have joined onto tonight's or today's episode towards the end, go ahead and certainly submit them at any particular point in time. A+morphinominal@gmail.com, ladies and gentlemen. You can go ahead and submit them over now throughout the entire week. Certainly go ahead and do so. Just in case if I'm not able to get to everybody's comments in the comment section while we're going live, if you definitely want to make sure that what you have to say gets put on air, definitely go ahead and submit your information over to us. Again, at A+morphinominal@gmail.com. You can go ahead and send those over, guys. But yeah, I hope everybody's week has been going so far pretty well so far. I feel like I'm honestly still off of the high of episode 1. It really did kind of carry over for me all week long, really anticipating what I was going to get for episode number 2 of Dino Fury. And this week certainly did not disappoint either, guys. So I guess with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start tackling some of our news and especially some of our reviews. But listen, if you guys continue to love our content, especially if you're here for our live sessions when we go ahead and go live every Saturday, do us a big favor, man. Hit that thumbs up, hit that like button. It certainly does go a long way in allowing our channel to certainly grow and YouTube to recognize our work. So especially if you're in the live chat, hit that like button, guys. Let's go ahead and blast past 40 likes this week if we can. 40 likes or more. Let's go ahead and do that, guys. But Dino Fury episode 2 is certainly here. Sporix Unleashed. And first and foremost, guys, I just got to say, Bert Selling, the gentleman that does the music for this, you just give me all type of feels, man. You truly do. You just know a way of getting goosebumps and chills up my arms with just the amazing composing work that he's been doing for this season by far. And it even carried over into the morphing sequence here for me, to be honest with you guys. I was really hoping for something really impactful, and we certainly did. We certainly did, to say the least. But yeah, I had to start off with that because I feel like soundtracks, whether it be to movies or television, is just so important in able to lift somebody's spirits, or lower somebody's emotions, if you will, and really just kind of carry you with some fantastic momentum through an entire episode. And Bert just does that in spades, man. I mean, this guy is incredible with his work. This is one of the few seasons of Power Rangers I can honestly say, if there's a soundtrack, can I get a soundtrack to Dino Fury, please? I would love it. There is something fantastic about the synthesized instruments, very sort of 80s retro vibe, a little bit to it with a more modern take. I don't know if that sort of influence came back after like Stranger Things hit us on Netflix a few years back, and maybe it started becoming even more popular these days, but it speaks to me. It speaks to me, and there's just an epicness about it that really gets to me, especially when it comes to the superhero realm. And I think it fits something like a modern day take on Power Rangers perfectly well, man, perfectly well. So I had to give a shout out to Bert Selling for just doing that. But I love the fact here that this show does just all the little things correctly, and it is the little things that truly go a long way. Simple things like just ranger training in here, right? Especially the idea of the training for the morphing sequence to make sure that you have it perfect or as smooth as you can absolutely get it. So to kind of see our Rangers fumbling with their Ranger keys or almost accidentally hitting each other, it's the little things like that makes me really appreciate the effort that they're putting towards the show, because you realize this team is not perfect, right? I feel like we've gotten so many teams of Rangers who have had no idea of what they're doing, but have been presented with this stuff and they all immediately just know how to do it, right? Like it's something that I think we've just accepted as Power Ranger fans, that when you become a Power Ranger and you get a morpher, boom, everything just comes to you naturally and very easily. So to see the idea that we have somebody in Zayto to kind of be that mentor for Ollie and Amelia, I really do think it's brilliant. And I love the fact that they are very enthusiastic to also be Power Rangers and are open-minded to learning and having Zayto kind of teach them. So it's the little things like that I think really showcase just their chemistry, or how well they're eventually going to get along and just kind of come together, and really just kind of see them grow their bonds over time as this mentorship of Zayto continues to get better and better. So I thought it was pretty neat. We got the introduction to them training also. He also explains to us that he doesn't have all the Ranger keys because of the idea of, I think Ollie brings up the idea, like, whether there are 6 dinosaurs here, right? Does that mean there's additional Ranger keys out there or additional members and things like that? And he does make it very aware that the other keys were in fact lost. So even Zayto was under the impression that it's only going to be a team of 3, which makes me wonder how Izzy along with Javi are certainly going to come into play here. Like, for me, are they going to discover their Ranger keys on their own? Have they already discovered their Ranger keys and don't really know sort of what to do with it? So I would be fascinated to kind of see what that story is going to be like with this other section of Power Rangers here with Black and Green having somehow come into this upcoming group. So I am kind of curious to see how it's going to fit in that way. We also got the introduction here to boost keys. Again, Zayto teaching us all these things along the way, and they managed to kind of knock all this stuff out within the first couple of episodes of this first couple of minutes of this episode, introducing us to boost keys. We even see it throughout the episode a little bit. The gravity boost key, I believe. We get to see the stink key, which I will say this. I mean, I guess we can't get through an entire season of Power Rangers without a fart joke, right? But I will say this, considering the fact that this actually comes from Super Sentai, and if I remember when it comes to Real Soldier, I think this might have been the only time that they used that stink power up mode. Maybe at some other point in time, I'm not quite sure, but I honestly am not expecting this season to be filled with fart jokes. I think if anything, they probably just wanted a good chuckle using some Super Sentai footage from Real Soldier. And they certainly did get that. And so we got to see the ability here for some power ups. And I think you guys are going to be really impressed going forward. If you haven't had the opportunity to check out Real Soldier, I think you guys will be really impressed with some of the power ups that Dino Fury will certainly be presenting to you. And one of the things that I think, again, if you haven't watched Real Soldier, that probably really jumped out to you was probably the Megazord battle that we wind up getting at the end, seeing the T-Rex champion in all his glory, controlled by Zayto, since the other teammates don't have their Zords as of yet. And the T-Rex champion just came out with a fantastic debut, man. I mean, again, the maneuverability of the Zord is unlike anything that I've ever seen. And I don't know if the key to it is just the legs. Like, if it's the idea of you just don't put a ton of bulk and design around the legs, maybe it's a little bit easier for them to certainly to get around in. I mean, the thing was running, it was rolling around. I mean, it was unbelievable, doing spin kicks and stuff. When's the last time you saw a Zord do something like that, right? So I really do appreciate what this Zord is, this T-Rex champion is certainly going to bring us all season long, guys. So strap in. Because like I've always said before, while I'm not the biggest fan of the Real Soldier series, I do think that if you're adapting Power Rangers, the fantastic stuff to adapt is definitely the fight sequences and the Zord battles. And I think that's just what's going to put Dino Fury even more over the top, along with the great storytelling that we've gotten so far and some of the great music to be attached to it also. Quick honorable mention, I did just want to get more on the technical side of things. I love the camera work in this season so far. I thought this episode especially, just something about the subtle camera pullouts, the slow close-up movements, especially when we see Dr. Akana and Ali speaking when he tries to introduce her to the Sporex radar or whatever the case may be. Just a really great slow-mo pull-in shot to really add a great sort of dramatic effect to it. So I really am impressed with just the technical aspects of what this show is doing. And look, even the director, he's had opportunities in past seasons to direct Power Rangers also, but I feel like they're really taking it to the next level. I feel like there is more money maybe put into either the production value or the budget for this show, and it's honestly showing every time that you watch it on screen, even to the point to where we got our teleportation back here in this season, which I think is absolutely brilliant. I think he says you turn the dial once and then you tap in order to go ahead and teleport, and clearly not everybody has to do it in order to teleport, right? Like, there's a moment, I think, when Zayto literally teleports the team by himself and kind of catches Ali off guard a little bit. So I do love the idea that teleportation is back. And it kind of reminds me a little bit, if I can make a Marvel reference here, it kind of reminds me of the Bifrost from Thor, if you will, whether it be the color designs, the way that it hits, like when you land, the idea of it just kind of kicking up a little bit of dust is perfect too. Again, just the little things, the subtle things that you may not necessarily pay attention to, but just really adds just great depth to a particular shot. So I love the teleportation sequence, and it feels like they definitely utilized it brilliantly in here, and quite often, honestly. So I'm down with it, though. I'm truly down with it. I really enjoyed what we wind up getting there in regards to the teleportation. But guys, the morphing sequence. Can we talk about the morphing sequence here real quick, man? Because you know, I didn't know what I was going to expect. I didn't know if they were going to use aspects of what we got from Real Soldier at all, with some of the backgrounds as far as like the disheveled battlefield and the night flags and the castles and stuff, right? Like, I wasn't sure how they were going to go that route, but I love the fact that they definitely went and created a very all original sort of morphing sequence here, guys. And also the fact that the training has in fact also paid off for our Dino Fury Rangers here in regards to having a smooth morphing sequence. So much to the point to where I figure, guys, you know what? We got to watch it. We got to watch it together. So let's go ahead and pull this up here. This was from the, let me just make sure I have the correct tweet here. Yes, this is from Power Rangers Hype themselves. They went ahead and posted this. Let me go ahead and make sure the sound is on. Let's go ahead and watch this morph sequence together and just get the feels for sure.
It's morphing time. Dino Fury key.
Smooth. I love it. Just the acknowledgement alone. Ooh. Yeah. My God. And I love this. This shot is so clean. So clean. I love the choice of background here and the added elements to the sword slashes. Just breathtaking to watch, man. Just absolutely breathtaking to watch when you get the opportunity to see it. I'll even say this, you know, I'm fascinated as to why the marketing team for Power Rangers didn't use this "it's morphin' time" from Zayto compared to the morphing time that we wind up getting in the trailer, right? Like when we talked about the trailer a little bit, one of the things that I said was like, Russell, I hope this isn't the first. Maybe this is the first morph. I have no idea, but I'm gonna need you to come out the gates swinging with your "it's morphin' time." And to say the least, Zayto delivers, man. Russell Curry. Talk about getting me hyped for a morphing sequence like never before, man. The way he carries himself, the confidence that this man has, I absolutely love it when he pulls out this morphing sequence. And guys, do me a favor. Listen to the music when they're morphing, okay? One of the beat drop, when they go boom and they slam onto the ground, the beat drop for this music just it just controls me, man. Let's watch this again. Let's listen to this again.
It's morphin' time.
Coming out the gates, Zayto. Love it.
Dino Fury key.
I love smooth. I love the acknowledgement. Here it comes. Listen to this. Woo! God. And I love this shot of them in the morphing grid. They're looking around like fucking brilliant, man. Do you hear that synthesized instruments? Yo. Can we look, guys? Slow clap. Can we have a round of applause? Can we have a round of applause for this fantastic morphing sequence here? The music, I mean, it's morphing time. Russell, my guy, that's exactly what I need to hear from you, man. Talk about making me one hell of a happy camper with this morphing sequence. It's funny, one of my buddies, Kyle from Twitter, reached out to me, and he was like yesterday and was like, you know, they presented us with the still photos of the morphing sequence and stuff, right? And he said it kind of feels a little bit the more of the, you know, the same old type of thing. And he said, but what's interesting is when I talked to somebody, they said that the morphing sequence was going to be pretty different this season, right? And he says, well, what do you think? I mean, they told me one thing, but we look at these stills and it looks like the same old. And I said, well, they're just photos, right? Like we haven't seen the entire morphing sequence yet, so we don't know what they're going to present to us, how they're going to kind of put it together. But the music, the beat drop, the confidence, them in the morphing grid. I love the shot of them just kind of looking around like in amazement at their own body, watching this morphing sequence take place. Man, it just I kid you not, I probably watched it on repeat like 20 times in a row. Like it literally was just playing in my background because I just dug the music, and I love the ferociousness of their morphing sequence. You know, I don't know if some people might complain that maybe the idea of it may be a little bit too long. One, it is the first morphing sequence, so I expect it to be long. I really enjoyed the concept of just having a full roll call, honestly, for the first time. But I do think that as the season progresses, either it'll get shorter. They'll clearly will still do the instant morphs with the link to the link to morphing grid type of thing. But I'm here for it every time that they want to get their morphing on, honestly. So I'm here for a really long morphing sequence, especially if it's going to get me hyped like that each and every time. Yeah, length is no problem for me, man. I'll absolutely take it. But I do want to go ahead and talk a little bit about Zayto in here because I really have enjoyed Russell Curry in this position. You know, when he was officially announced, one of the things that I talked about with you guys here was that stature-wise, I always felt Zayto was probably going to be the Black Ranger. But when you actually look at his talent and you look at his actor's reel and all the stuff that this man's doing, from being a hip hop artist himself, maybe on the side a little bit, him having a pretty wide range in regards to performances, from being able to do drama stuff to comedic and things like that. He has always had this very confident aura about him. It's very quiet, but it's very professional, and you know that like he has a presence when he's certainly around. And I love the fact that that presence by Russell Curry is felt in here, that he has that confidence of a leader. I've been doing this a while. I can come across as this mentor, and I really love what he's adding to it, because I don't recall the last time we had a group of Rangers that where one of the Rangers was the person sort of teaching them. Like, I feel like it's been a minute since we've had something like that, unless they've been Power Rangers in the past, right? I mean, Tommy from Dino Thunder, you know, coming in with previous experience as the mentor for that group. This is pretty much almost the same thing when it comes to Russell, as he has had a previous Power Ranger team that he was in fact the leader of. So he definitely has some experience under his belt. So I love the way that he's fitting along with this team. And I think Russell Curry is just knocking it out of the park, not only with that confidence side of things when it comes to the Power Ranger element, but still that element of not quite fitting in yet, right? Like when we see him having to go ahead and try and tell the public as to what's going on, the little awkward moments of him really not fully understanding the world around him as of yet, clearly understanding that there's a lot more that he has to learn, right? Like, where are the dinosaurs? I would really love to see one right now. Like, I just love like the non-understanding that he has. And so for me, it'll be really fun to kind of see the Rangers bring him along and allow him to grow as a character, and hopefully have some fun times introducing him to concepts of the 21st century that he's never been introduced to with before. So I think Russell Curry, man, you're the man, guy. You're definitely the man, and I cannot wait to see how else you do here. Calm, cool, and collected. That's Russell Curry in real life, it feels like, and it carries over to Zayto, and I'm definitely here for it. But just that acknowledgement of smooth, like the fact that he took time out of there just to kind of like give them that positive that positive reassurance that, damn, we got this shit down already. I love it. I absolutely loved it. But let's also talk about some other characters in here, Ollie, because this week's mission really was the idea of to warn the people about the Sporex, but clearly Ollie has other plans, right? They find Void Knight's scanner for the Sporex, and his idea is to go ahead and reach out to his mother, Dr. Arcana, and have her sort of mold the alien technology with human technology that Zolan unfortunately does tell him probably is a little bit dangerous for you to certainly do, and we see exactly why. Not even the idea of them mending it, but sort of putting Dr. Arcana on the radar of the villains in here, to where Dr. Arcana is a little bit in danger. But speaking of Dr. Arcana, I mean, talk about just doubly deadly, not just deadly in the looks, but also deadly of being able to take care of herself and beat that ass whenever she needs to, right? Like, this woman, when I think of Dr. Arcana, I'm thinking to myself, can I get a spin-off series of Dr. Arcana, like just Indiana Jones type style with Ollie, or just on her own as like a Tomb Raider type chick? Like, I would love to see Dr. Arcana just on some her own personal adventures, if you will, just to show off what she's capable of, man. I mean, talk about just a deadly combination, beautiful and deadly, and I cannot wait to see what else she has in store for us this season. But I really love her chemistry with her son Ollie. I think her and Kai are doing brilliant work together, honestly. And for me, like to be able to just see her a little bit in her fighting style, I thought was pretty cool with her with the extension cord lasso around mucus. I thought that was pretty fun also to kind of see her work. But one of the things that's fascinating to me here in this episode is the idea that does Dr. Arcana, is she going to find out who Ollie is? Like the fact that Ollie has introduced two brand new friends to her, right? He's clearly been hanging out with them a little bit more. He's coming across this weird alien technology and being introduced to these things. She kind of almost picked up on his voice towards the end of the episode when he comes to save her. And I love the fact that Ollie has to disguise his voice a little bit. It almost reminds me of like I do wonder, like, will we ever go like CW route and just have like voice digitizer so everybody sounds like Oliver Queen from Arrow? Like, you failed this city. Can I get like voiceovers for their Power Ranger voices as of now? Because for me, when Ollie just goes into deeper voice, for some reason I go directly to Spider-Man Homecoming when Peter's trying to do his investigative thing and he turns on his voice things and he's like, are you a kid? He's like, I'm not a kid. I'm a grown man. Can't you hear it in my voice? I'm a man. It just sort of reminds me of is Ollie trying to disguise his voice for his mom. But if I had to put money on it though, considering just how brilliant Dr. Akana is, I don't think the idea of her son being Power Ranger is going to fly over her head very long. I really don't. I feel like the way that the writing has been so far, the show is very self-aware of itself, very logical at times, right? Doesn't really let stupid things kind of go by. So far, we're only 2 episodes in so far. Like they seem to pay attention to little details like that. And so for me, when I think of Dr. Akana and everything that we've seen her do so far in regards to her brilliance, I don't know if you're going to put a fast one on your mom. I have a feeling that she's probably going to be like, come on, Ollie. Like, I know it's you and your friends that are doing this type of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if she does eventually figure out maybe before even the end of the first season, to be honest with you. So I am really fascinated to kind of see how that goes along. And when it comes to Ollie's story, again, I think it's a lesson that us as a fandom have to continue to learn, to let some of these creators just tell the story that they need to and not necessarily jump to assumptions of what the story is going to be about, right? Like when episode 2's description came out for Sporix Unleashed, I do remember people over on Twitter or in the fandom kind of complaining like, oh, this is just going to be that that filler episode or that lesson of the day type of thing. And I think people's expectation of this episode just kind of went down, thinking that they knew what we were going to expect. So I love the fact that we come out of the gates here, and this episode, to me, if you ask me, did not feel like that sort of life lesson, if you will. I mean, maybe towards the very end, we have Ollie apologizing and things like that, and she's just like, "Hey, water under the bridge," right? And we move on to the next thing. So it definitely never came across like that. Life lesson episode. So I think even despite the titles that we see ahead of time or the episode descriptions, I just don't think that we should crap on an episode immediately until we actually do see what the creators actually do have for us. Because based off of the description, I don't think anybody expected to have this great of an episode. And it blew us away. So I definitely enjoyed this week's episode for sure. Couple quick honorable mentions in here. J-Borg, we get to see in the attempt of our Rangers to go ahead and let the rest of the town or city know about the Sporix and the danger. We do see that Jane is trying to find a future replacement for her, somebody that she can certainly train, and Jane is the boss of Amelia over at Buzz Blast. And so when we see them going to Buzz Blast to hopefully put out like a Power Ranger PSA, which they eventually do by the end of the episode, which I think is so cool that we have the Power Rangers working with like local enforcement and spreading their word to protect everybody. Again, the little things like that really do go a long way in telling a fantastic story. But the J-Borg that we get introduced to, Jane's new android that she winds up having built for her, that can kind of do everything. It comes to us from the Hartford robotics. And I'm absolutely wondering if this is in fact a nod to Operation Overdrive. If you recall, the father in Operation Overdrive, Andrew Hartford, I believe he's the one that actually created the android of his son, Mac. So I am wondering if this is Andrew's company either still doing that in regards to creating androids, or if this is the beginning aspects of that time. I don't really know where the time period is for this this particular series. I would assume, if anything, maybe after that, because Simon Bennett has come out. Just to clarify for people, Simon Bennett has come out and said that this show is taking place in the main universe and not the Dino Charge universe. So he has come out and clarified it is in fact in the main universe. So maybe Hartford Robotics has continued on, but regardless if there's a connection, it definitely feels very much like a nod to Operation Overdrive. You had an android in there. Now we have them creating robots and androids for here in Dino Fury. I'm definitely thinking there's a connection there. You guys know, also quick honorable mention goes out to my boy, or I should say my girl, Mucus, now, aka formerly Crayon over at Real Soldier, one of my favorite characters in the entire season. I love how that character is being adapted. I think a boy in Real Soldier, they do have a female voice over here for Mucus, and I'm loving it. I still think that the voice alone still sort of captures that that kid-like fascination and enthusiasm for what they're seeing and things like that, right? Very much sounds like a younger kid in regards to being involved in here. I love the fact that she was like, oh, you have a boss? I love being told what to do. And then now we see the partnership between her and Void Knight and things like that. So I'm really fascinated to see where this is going to take us going forward. But already with the great sort of comic relief in at least one of the characters that they certainly have in here. Like the idea of Zayto just chopping him down. He's like, I didn't know it was going to be that easy, guys. I had no idea. I love the delivery in here. And the comedy continues to thrive, honestly. Well, again, we don't really have like solely like characters that are solely there for comedic purposes. I mean, maybe Mucus at this point is probably going to be that character, but outside of that, the dialogue alone is truly carrying the comedy here, which I think is brilliant. That's one of the things that we've been emphasizing for years. And again, it seems as though Simon Bennett and the rest of the crew are actually listening, guys. They're listening into what we love, what we weren't the biggest fans of, and they're making corrections. You gotta give your hats off to Simon Bennett for that. But going back to the comedy aspect, you know, when we see Amelia and Zolan in the command center, and she's like, "Oh, that name is so awesome. Who names these swords?" And Zolan's like, anyway, like moving over, like, okay, newbie, time to move on from you. I love the fact when we get to Warden Buzzkill again, he goes, he's like, is this their spaceship? And Zayto's like, no, like just deadpan, just completely serious, not knowing that the Buzzkill's actually joking. I wind up cracking up in there. And also one of my other favorite moments is when we get to see Amelia getting ready. She's like, well, we are. And then you got Kai that comes in, the Power Rangers. And she's like, oh, come on. I was going to say that. Like just the little things, again, the little things go such a long way in regards to pushing your story forward, adding that little extra emphasis of comedy here or there without going too much over the top. The writing is really on point. The dialogue is really on point from time to time. I haven't really heard too many corny lines or even delivered in corny ways. Like I just feel like this cast really is sinking their teeth into this script and really giving us something fantastic. If there was a complaint, guys, that I have, it's maybe just the ADR work, right? Like some of the voiceovers of our cast as their Power Rangers. There's a little bit more oomph that I would really like to see in the ADR recording, so that when it comes across as the movement of your Power Rangers, that it's really sort of matching up with it a little bit. I felt like there was a line that was delivered both by Zayto and especially Ollie in here when he was about to go ahead and save his mom and things like that. There's like a level of emotion that I think you probably capture as an actor when you're actually filming it yourself, whereas maybe coming in to voice record I feel like you have to maybe carry that same energy over with you, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily happen. So if I did have any complaint in this episode, it might have been the ADR work just a little bit. But other than that, guys, real quick, the Mega Fury Saber, a brand new original weapon in here, as we get the opportunity to see the original cockpit, or a new original cockpit for Zayto in his T-Rex Champion Zord. So they not only give us an original cockpit, but they also give us an original weapon here in the Mega Fury Saber, which you can clearly see on his Dino Fury key when he calls the T-Rex champion. So I'm really glad that they designed that into an actual sword for him to use in the actual Zord itself. So that was pretty neat. And then, of course, the introduction of Area 62, which we see Mucus and Void Knight discover. Really cool set pieces, man. I've been really impressed with what we've gotten so far. I complimented Buzz Blast last week, and especially that long one-shot unedited of them really exploring all Buzz Blast, so you can see how big it is, all the intricate parts of it. And the same thing goes here with Area 62. I think that the design pieces for the sets are really breathtaking to watch, and I'm kind of curious if there is a connection to this specific place that Void Knight has said people have actually abandoned in years. So I am kind of curious if this is a place that we might actually be familiar with and maybe just looks significantly different. So I am kind of curious when it comes to Simon Bennett and what they've been able to do in Beast Morphers and in the first episode of Dino Fury with connecting Power Ranger lore and things like that. I'm really fascinated to kind of see what they wind up giving us, if this is connected to anything lore-wise. If not, I'm perfectly okay with that, but I just think the design piece alone is pretty fantastic. So, guys, if you ask me, another stellar episode of Dino Fury that I thought they did a really good job of. If you thought what you got in episode 1 was all the goodness, we still have some surprises for you in episode number 2. Again, the music selection, the teleportation, the morphing sequence, the training of Zayto to the other Rangers. I thought everybody certainly did their part here this week. So fantastic episode, guys. But listen, at the end of the day, I always want to know your thoughts. Go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below after this particular episode winds up streaming. And maybe what I'll do again, like I did last week, I might cut this portion into its own separate review video as well, because we do like to put playlists together. So if anything, I might drop that either later on tonight or sometime tomorrow for you guys. But you're always welcome to come back to this video, skim through the timeline, and go ahead and check it out for yourself. But let me go ahead and jump over into some of the live viewer questions with you guys and see what you are in fact saying today in regards to this week's episode. Let me jump back up to the top here. Hopefully it just doesn't erase everything you guys have been talking. It goes back to 12:12. It's okay. Shadow Nova does go and say, he says, glad that there's an Overdrive reference. Wonder what Mac thinks of J-Borg. Yeah, that would be interesting, right? To kind of see who knows, maybe he created it. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see here. Also we got yeah, I do want to see how, again, we haven't even seen Mac introduced yet, right? From Ninja Steel. I am kind of curious when he plans on popping up in here. Blossom says Ollie almost revealed himself to his mom. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I love the immediate sort of like, hello, ma'am, are you okay? I love the immediate voice switch when he picked up on the idea that she was figuring, she might have figured out who it was. Dante says, I love the techno music vibes. Yeah, me too, man. Again, it's a very retro, synthesized music. You could probably find some extra music like that on YouTube if you want. I can't lie, guys. I'm actually contemplating maybe switching up a new intro for A+ Morphinominal that might be inspired by some synth music after what I've been hearing from Dino Fury so far. Dino Real Soul, he says, I'm pretty sure Dr. Akana will learn Ollie is a ranger later on. How does she not see him talking to his watch? But we were already doing that with the Apple Watch in real life. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. Again, I feel like in past seasons, maybe they probably would have made their parents rather oblivious, but I don't see that this time around. I really do feel like they're probably going to, she's probably going to figure it out pretty soon. The A Games 10. What's up, man? He says, I love that roll call's return. The last roll call we had was episode 7 of Super Ninja Steel. Damn, has it been that long? Has it been that long? I am curious if we're gonna get this roll call on a weekly episode, a weekly basis, or if they're gonna kind of throw it in on just really impactful moments. So we'll see how it winds up turning out. But I'm so glad that they kicked off this this morphing sequence with the roll call, our very first one. Matthew says, using the Mega Fury Saber in Zord battle was interesting. Yeah, it was pretty neat. I mean, it definitely utilized more for Zord attacks. It would be cool to kind of see him take that Mega Fury, Mega Fury Saber out of the cockpit and actually use it on the battlefield. But yeah, we'll see how they utilize that going forward. Enrique also loved the morphing sequence. Chris, Jaden, what's up, Jaden? Appreciate you coming through. He says, Charlie was a big director of the show in the Disney era, and it shows. It definitely shows. He definitely is bringing some, I feel like, some unique decisions in regards to how he's, some of his shot selections. I think that's definitely carrying over from his time there in the past and his experience. Blossom says Amelia and Ollie were awesome in this episode. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this cast so far. I feel like Kai, I don't believe, has had too much experience acting wise. I know Hunter definitely has. She's definitely been in a few commercials, I believe a couple of short films also. So I definitely know she's definitely going to bring it along with Russell, right? I mean, if you want somebody that has that type of experience, you want them to certainly be your leader. So I'm glad that everybody's truly shining in here. JB says, link to morphing grid. I like that. It's different. Yeah, I do like that also. I'm glad that it's not in the full morphing sequence. I'm glad it's not the only phrase that they say, right? Because they do say it's morphing time. Dino Fury keys. They do say activate, link to morphing grid, and then boom, and then it just drops. I love the fact that they do have something more, because for me, link to morphing grid, it sounds cool, but I need a little bit more than that. Like, that's why I'm cool with it being part of just their instant morph. That's great. But when it comes to a full-on morphing sequence, yeah, I definitely am going to need link to morphing grid in there with some other words also. And they delivered, man. They delivered. They gave me everything that I certainly wanted, from the actual morph to the instant morph. I'm there for it. I love that little special effect as they turn over their morphing, their morpher. A video DVD. What's up, man? He agrees the morphing sequence was sick. Absolutely loved it. Yamile. I could be butchering that. If I am, I certainly apologize. I really enjoyed watching the morphing. Me too. I literally kept it on repeat while I was getting ready this morning. I literally had that same tweet just playing on repeat over and over again for like 20, 25 times. It hits, man. It hits. Again, if you guys get a chance in your own time, just go ahead and check it out, and check out just that beat drop. Boom, as they hit the ground. Oh my God, it gets me hyped every time just thinking about it. Frankie says Void Knight has a base too. Yeah, the Area 62. I am curious to see how they grow upon that. Now, I'm really also fascinated to see the other sporks that are going to get involved in this. A lot of you guys out here loving the techno music. Again, I think it's more synthesized music than techno. I think it feels more retro synthesized than techno. But initially, that's what my first thought of and vibe of it was too. But maybe there definitely is a little bit of techno in there though, for sure though. I think it's just those synthesized instruments. Boom, boom. Just hit different. They hit different. I love just seeing the comment section just blown up with love for this Ranger sequence, this morphing sequence. Johnny says, Adam, what did you think of the T-Rex Champion Zord fight? Because for me, it was fire and awesome. Guys, I've been bragging about it even before Dino Fury. I've been telling you guys, when this Zord battle hits for the first time, if you've never seen Real Soldier, you about to get your ass kicked. Because I remember when I watched Real Soldier for the first time, I was like, what the? is this? I've never seen anything like it, and it gets better as the season progresses, guys. I promise. The A Games 10. Good point. Good point. He says, I guess the trailer needed a shot of the 5 Rangers for its morphing time. You're absolutely right. That could certainly have been one of the things. Maybe that's one of their first times morphing as an entire group. You might absolutely be right in regards to it. But I will tell you right now that its morphing time definitely does not hit the same way as this episode did, man. I'm so glad that Russell Curry just brought the heat this time. Common Rider, what's up, Common Rider? Appreciate you coming through today, as always. The rounds of applause, I love it. Adrian says, who noticed the watches are gray? I think Izzy and Javier later, they are black, as we saw in photos. Ooh, interesting. I'll have to see when we get a closer look up in live action. A video. He says, I'll say it again. I like how the morphing grid looks like space with constellations made of atoms. Yeah, when I do look at the morphing grid in here, it definitely feels like you're looking into outer space and just the millions of constellations that are all there and how they're just kind of all connected. It definitely does give that vibe of not only just constellations, but I guess it's a really great I guess if you think about it, right, the idea that the morphing grid does connect a ton of universes together, and when you're looking up at the stars and constellations, those are, planets, galaxies, universes out there that we don't even have the opportunity to actually see for ourselves. So it almost makes like a really faithful, like if you had to represent what the morphing grid would look like, I could easily see it looking as like you're in space with constellations. I feel like it's a perfect fit for it, honestly. So thank you for bringing that up, video. Matthew says, also need to say, as usual, love the Amelia this week, and Ollie is growing on me quite a lot too. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a fascination with Blue Rangers when it comes to this particular team. They really do give their Blue Rangers sort of a lot of material to kind of work with. I wonder if it's the idea that they know that the Red Ranger's always going to kind of be like that focal point, that they really do take their time to build up other characters. And the fact that, again, we haven't even had the whole team yet is a perfect opportunity for them to build up characters like Amelia and Ollie, right? Like Ollie honestly wasn't even on my radar kind of beginning. I think when I started off, I was thinking I'm probably really going to enjoy Ollie, Javi, and Izzy. Like those are the people I'm really focusing on. But Ollie's definitely has won me over along with his mom too. So I really think I'm going to truly enjoy all these characters because everybody's putting on a great performance. Dino Real Soul says the morph call is kind of long, which is awesome, just like Dino Charge was. I'm bummed that there are no dancing nights. Thank God. Like if you ask me, thank God there are no dancing nights. I'm cool with the nights when he comes out to activate the T-Rex champion and he hits his sword to the shield and then we dives down into the T-Rex champion. That's cool. I'm perfectly okay with that particular night, but I'm so glad there's no damn dancing nights in this season. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Maybe it'll pop up. Yeah, if they didn't do it in this, they're definitely not going to do it this season. So, woo, thank you. Jaden says, I like the animation of the instant morph, like the spin of energy thing. Yeah, the instant morph does look pretty sharp also. They definitely have put a lot of emphasis towards the special effects in here too. I mean, it looks clean. Like even the design for the Sporex, like the little purple egg things, those look creepy and awesome too. They really are paying a lot of attention to detail. The A Game Sense says he didn't expect them to even do roll calls this season, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think many people did. All right, guys. I think let me some other people in here popping up. Red is not a flavor. What's up, man? Appreciate you coming through today. I love that Ollie's mom believed her son immediately about the Sporex. Loved it, right? You make a great point. Again, the idea that these characters don't seem to be oblivious to like logic or just like the most out doing some of the most outlandish stuff. It definitely does seem like it is a show that seems to be aware of itself. The idea that, they've been him and his mom, for me, the explanation for that is I'm sure Dr. Akana has seen some crazy shit in her life. I'm sure she's been on a ton of adventures, excavated a ton of different things. So I feel like just some of the stuff that she's might have come across. I feel like also the idea that they do live in the world that has experienced Power Rangers before and attacks and understands that world, that there probably are some people out there that are very much open to the idea that, this type of stuff truly does exist. So I love the fact that Ollie's mom not only just immediately believes her son, which I think is brilliant, but also the idea that she's smart enough to be at least open-minded, to be like, okay, let me hear what you got to say. Let me hear what you got to say, and is on board with it without truly questioning him. I'm glad you brought that up. Red is not a flavor for sure. Another great point as to why Dr. Akana is a great fit for this show. Sarav, appreciate you coming through, Sarav. Speaking of mucus, that is one over-the-top name for a villain. Absolutely, but you know what? It's super fitting at the same time. Like, he just reminds me of a gigantic booger. So if I had to come up with something, it would be mucus, booger, I don't know, snot. Like, it feels very appropriate, as over-the-top as it might be. Accurate, yes, absolutely accurate, for sure. Jaden says, I wonder when the other writers will write episodes too. Not quite sure, honestly, but for me, I think one of my I am eager to see what the other writers certainly bring to the table, for sure. I mean, Becca and Alwyn, as of right now, I'm honestly not worried about them, guys. I'm not worried about them at all. 2 episodes back to back, I saw a massive improvement when it comes to Beast Morphers. I have faith in those 2 going forward, that with the showrunner like Simon Bennett and some of the ideas and that him and Chip Lynn have kind of come up with, I do think that the writing certainly will be there. So I am eager to see what the other writers are certainly going to be capable of. But the thing that I'm truly looking forward to, honestly, is the other directors. Charles has been doing a great job so far, but I really do want to see how other directors kind of tackle each specific episode, shot selection, right? Different techniques that they might use that maybe Charles certainly does. I am fascinated to see what they're going to bring to the episodes. Also, there's a lot of newness, And Simon Bennett has mentioned that a lot of the cast, or I should say, a lot of the crew is in fact new. It's not a lot of the same people that we've known for others. I mean, maybe some of the directors and writers certainly come back, but I think he's said he got brand new executive producers, right? So they're going to bring something to the table. I know he's got brand new VXF people in charge also, which is, again, it's definitely showing itself. So when he brags about all the people that are brand new to this cast and crew, the proof is in the pudding, if you will. You can see it for yourself that this season definitely feels very unique from what we've gotten so far. And I'm just hoping it carries over. I mean, they've knocked 2 episodes out of the park. I'm really hoping that they continue to do some fantastic stuff. Shadow Nova's jumping on board with this idea that I wound up throwing out last week. The idea that Warden Garcia probably is the father of Izzy and Javi. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that's the case. I really am. I hope it's not just, it's a coincidence. For me, I considering how they've put Warden Buzzkill in here 2 episodes so far, I feel like he's going to have a significant role this season, and probably as one of the parents. So glad you're on board with that idea, Shadow Nova, for sure. Blossom, I would agree with you. Amelia's enthusiasm is just so cool. She and I are totally alike. Yeah, I do love the idea that she gets hyped over the name of a Zord and the idea of like boost keys. Like, can we try them, sort of thing, right? She definitely is very much that open-minded, very eager, wanting to kind of get involved. Yeah, she definitely does. She definitely does have that vibe about her, for sure. Maurice, what's up, Maurice? Appreciate you coming through. He says, fun fact, the person that does the voice for Shockhorn also does the voice for Steel. Okay, very nice. I didn't even pick up on that, but that's pretty cool. Completely 2 different voices too, right? He went more that country bumpkin this time around, if I'm not mistaken. Victory. Good afternoon, Mrs. Perez. Well, I'm a Mister, but hey, I'll take it. Appreciate you coming by, Victory. Appreciate you coming by. All right. I think let me see here. Quick shout out to Lawrence for certainly coming through. The Zord fight felt like Jungle Fury Zord fight. Yeah, there definitely was definitely did feel like it a little bit too. But again, I don't know if I've ever seen a Zord that maneuverable. So definitely still rather unique in my eyes for sure. Let's see here. The A Games 10 says, "Hey Adam, is there a way we can get that transparent image of the Rangers you're using on the left side of the stream? I'm not good at photoshopping the poster." Yeah, no problem. If anything, I'll go ahead and post it over on Twitter later on today for you guys if you like. Aubrey says, no, but I really hate about Power Rangers that the human characters don't believe in aliens, and if they are in the same universe as Power Rangers. Yeah, I mean there are hints like that still kind of get to me a little bit, but there are clearly some characters in here that kind of know what's going on, in the sense of we've been through this kind of stuff before. Considering the fact that we know Ollie certainly does know who the Power Rangers are, very much so. So people in this town definitely are aware. But again, it is funny that you do bring up the idea that seemingly there are skeptics, right? The idea that Warden Buzzkill just kind of dismisses the idea of aliens type of thing, right? Like, come on, is this their spaceship? Trying to be a smart ass. No, that's not actually. Fucking Zayto. But you're right. It definitely does happen, Aubrey, for sure. Like, again, one of my biggest things was, so Ollie believes in aliens, but he doesn't believe that ghosts could possibly be real too, right? Like, I just feel like if you believe in one thing that's supernatural like that the idea of believing in something like ghosts is just as easy. But again, that's just me. That's just me. But you're right, Aubrey. There are sometimes, especially in a universe that is familiar with Power Rangers, at this point, everybody should believe in aliens. You know what I mean? Shouldn't dismiss anything at this point. And did I say, and I've seen some of your comments, you guys were talking about Operation Overdrive. I was referring to the idea of Andrew Hartford building his android and son Mac. And so when you guys, I misread that because I think somebody mentioned the idea if there was a connection, and I was referring and somehow brought in the idea of Mick returning. So yeah, that is a flub on my part, but I'm very much aware as to the difference. I just read that question wrong. I apologize. Let's see here. Midwest, what's up, Midwest? Appreciate you coming through. Also, Aubrey also loves what Zayto is doing as far as the Ranger goes. Red Ranger being able to teach them the morphing sequence, just a little tidbits like that, little things like that certainly do go a long way. But yeah, other than that, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up at least for our. Oh, here we go. One more. Because they haven't, I haven't brought them up yet. DHR2 Productions, what's up? He says, only thing that ruined this episode for me was the fart joke and the Zord fight. That's it. But everything else was really good. I'm surprised that the Zord fight wasn't for you. I honestly thought that the Zord fight would kind of floor everybody, just in regards to the design alone, the action, his maneuverability. But hey, they just goes to show you, right? Like, not everything is for everybody. Not everything hits everybody the same way. So hopefully, as the season progresses, DHR, maybe the Zord fights will become one of the aspects of the show that you really come to enjoy. So, but I will say this, I get the idea of the fart joke, kind of maybe throwing some people off. Again, I was hoping that maybe the fart jokes were that of the past, but considering the fact that I'm giving them a pass because of the fact that it's a real soldier footage that's being used and not original footage, if you will. And I really don't think that this season, real soldier wise, has many fart jokes. Like, I don't really think they use that power up mode very often, if I recall, if at all, outside of maybe this one time. So you may not have to worry about that too much, for sure. All right, guys. But other than that, again, we definitely want to go ahead and know your thoughts about Dino Fury. So after this live chat, if you want to go ahead and continue this discussion in the comment section box below, especially after you guys, maybe if you watch the episode again. No, I'm pretty sure I gave you a shout out, Marcelino. Don't worry, I did give you a shout out at the top of the episode. But yeah, if you guys get the opportunity to rewatch episode number 2 and want to come back to this review and give your thoughts, feel free to certainly go ahead and do so, guys. That's really how YouTube recognizes our work, to kind of see the activity, the likes, and the comments. They really do go a long way. So again, if you're in the live chat and you tend to come here on a weekly basis, if you love our content and the videos we drop, boom, hit that like button, guys. We really do appreciate it. But I'm pretty sure I did give you a shout out, Marcelino, but I'll give you another one anyway, my guy. I appreciate you coming through today. Thank you very much. All right, guys. Speaking of Dino Fury, though, I do want to go ahead and give, you know what, guys? Hold on one second. You know what? Because I love you guys and I appreciate you guys' support each and every time you come through. We're going to play this shit again.
It's morphin' time. Dino Fury King.
Smooth. I love it.
Activate.
Give me that beat drop, baby. Give me that beat drop. God, this looks so beautiful. Woo. Tricera Fury. Ankylo Fury. Sick, man. Psh, man, I'm surprised that this video should have like a million views from me alone. I've watched this morph sequence so many damn times. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here. We will, in fact, actually stay in regards to Dino Fury just a little bit longer, because I do want to give some shout outs here. This actually comes to us from the Power Scoop, the voices behind the masks, if you will. Again, the Power Scoop is a really great source for all your behind the scenes type of stuff, especially when it comes to production for these Power Rangers series. They do a great job in regards to letting us know who some of the cast members are, some of the extras, some of the people that are going to be playing some of the villains and characters throughout the season, and especially the voice acting work. So again, go ahead and check out the Power Scoop whenever you get a chance over on Twitter, and they do have themselves an actual the Power Scoop blog .wordpress.com. Go ahead and check them out, ladies and gentlemen. But quick shout out, let's go ahead and pull, so just so you guys know who's actually doing the voices for these particular seasons. When it comes to Zolan, the dinosaur, the amazing design dinosaur, Josephine Davison, cast as the voice of Solon in Dino Fury, and this is her. And the returning Power Rangers alumni just keep on coming, according to the website, with multiple Power Ranger seasons being filmed in Auckland, New Zealand, where the talent pool is considered smaller than other locations. This shouldn't come as a surprise. It does, however, bring some excitement to fans to know those who have previously worked on the show are happy to lend their talents to the future seasons, and that's no exception with Josephine Davison. Many fans recognize her as having portrayed Morgana in Power Rangers SPD. The character of Morgana originally appeared in SPD as the evil 10-year-old Mora. Despite having been turned into her adult self, Morgana was known for her childlike behavior, in contrast to her ruthless skills as a fighter. So, Power Rangers SPD Morgana, none other than Josephine Jo Davison, is in fact our Zolan here this season. I thought that was a pretty cool little reveal, honestly. So yeah, she is in fact voicing that dinosaur. Again, incredible design, to be perfectly honest with you, and I really do love what they've come up with for that so far. Another introduction that they wind up revealing to us today is in fact the voice behind Mucus. This is Torum Heng, cast as the voice of Mucus in Power Rangers Dino Fury. Let me see if I I didn't do too much research here in regards to her. So let me see if it does say Henge joins Power Ranger Dino Fury in her not only her first voice role, but her first role with the franchise as the voice of Mucus, the kid-like tag-along indestructible Sporex that was created accidentally by the Pine Ridge civilian who stumbled upon the Sporex eggs. First voice role, incredible. So welcome into the world of voice acting, Torum Hang. I think that's pretty cool, honestly, that she gets that opportunity for her first ever voice role to work on this particular franchise. So fantastic to kind of see what she's going to bring to that particular role. And honestly, I do love the voice of Mucus. I was kind of hoping that when they introduced it, that they would still keep some aspects of Crayon from the Real Soldier Japanese version into that personality, and I think they knocked it out of the park with Torum in here. So I do think it's going to be a fantastic spot, honestly, when it comes to Power Ranger fandom going forward. So hopefully they'll be impressed. I'm impressed so far with just one episode, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is not the last that we've heard of Torum. I have a feeling they'll probably will bring her back for other stuff in the future as well. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, I do want to go ahead and continue to transition out of Dino Fury a little bit and start talking a little bit more Power Rangers just as a whole. First and foremost, I want to talk some Beast Morphers, guys. It's been a while since we've talked Beast Morphers. I do miss that cast. It's great to still continue to see Rory along with Jazz Meat out on the road doing their convention thing still, if you will, on Instagram and Twitter. I feel like these two are like attached at the hip right now. There's almost like they become best buddies. I don't know if they had this relationship on set or not, or if it's something that's kind of grown after they've wind up leaving Power Rangers and things like that. Maybe, I'm sure that they're all relatively close. I mean, I'm sure they've all have grown some bonds together, but being able to see them hang out outside of Power Rangers together has been pretty appealing. They're big on TikTok too, if I'm not mistaken. I do think they've put some TikTok videos together also. So they're definitely getting along. Jacqueline Sislowski is still doing her TikTok and IG thing, just being as goofy and fantastic as ever. So definitely go ahead and check them out. But one of the big questions when it comes to Beast Morphers is Beast Morphers ever going to fully complete itself on Netflix? And the answer to that is yes, ladies and gentlemen. I know for the longest time we've had seasons 1 of Beast Morphers up there and just the first half of season 2 of Beast Morphers. But guys, the second half of season 2 is going to be here before we even know it. This actually comes to us from comicbook.com. Every movie and TV show arriving in March, guys. That's right, March. It says here, let's see, starting March 1st, not that far away, guys. March 1st, Power Rangers, Beast Morphers, Season 2, guys. So mark your calendars. Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 2 will be dropping on Netflix March 1st. So if you're one of those people that like to binge your full seasons of Power Rangers, if you don't watch it while it's airing live and you want to go ahead and catch up, as of March 1st, Beast Morphers will be completed on Netflix for you guys to certainly go ahead and check out. It might certainly be worth the view. I personally might actually go back and binge it. Also, I do owe you guys a overall season review, and now that it's wind up dropping, maybe I'll go ahead and do a little bit of a binging and rewatching, and then dropping my thoughts for you guys also. So you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and put that in my planner to go ahead and try and do something like that. So Beast Morphers Season 2 in completion beginning March 1st, ladies and gentlemen. So go ahead and mark your calendars for that. So yeah, that should be pretty cool to see. Let's see here. Some of this stuff was just pretty quick, but now we're about to get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, guys. We have ourselves a couple more stuff that we're gonna examine here for you, but I wanted to go ahead and transition over to the Hasbro investor call that we wind up having here this past week. for those of you who didn't have the opportunity to check it out, we did talk a little bit about it earlier this week. I believe we dropped the video on Thursday, kind of highlighting all the stuff that went down in that particular meeting. It was a little bit barren when it comes to Power Ranger news. I think a lot of us kind of went into, or some of us certainly went into that investors call thinking that maybe it was going to be filled to the brim with Power Ranger information, and unfortunately it didn't. But I will say this: what I took away from the Hasbro investment call is two things. One, the emphasis on the concept of reimagining and reinventing a new universe, if you will, for Power Rangers. And then secondly, the emphasis on streaming, and where Hasbro potentially wants to go with its future. And all the stuff I find really appealing to me, to be perfectly honest with you. I am fascinated to see what the future of Power Rangers is going to be like, how Hasbro, what their mindset is like going into Power Rangers, to kind of see what they want to continue to provide for us. They've been doing so fantastically so far when it comes to Dino Fury. But with the future of Power Rangers still being that much of a big question mark, I thought it would be interesting to kind of revisit this. So this article, I think, dropped very shortly before the actual investor meeting went down. But when this article dropped, and this is from CNBC, if I'm not mistaken, did highlight maybe a couple of things that were going to be talked about in the investor meeting. And a couple of those things I wanted to go ahead and highlight with you guys today. So let's go ahead and just kind of see what they're talking about in regards to maybe the streaming future for Hasbro. Let's see here. A couple of key points. Hasbro brought production company Entertainment One, known for its powerhouse kid brands, for $3.8 billion, so almost $4 billion in 2019. The toy company has more than 30 TV and film projects in the works, but has yet to unlock the potential of the E1 deal. So they're just honestly just getting started in regards to their Entertainment One and the value that it's going to bring not only to Power Rangers, but the remainder of their IP also. It says Hasbro is set to reveal more of its entertainment plans during the Investor Day on Thursday. And one of those things that they did at least unveil to us is that they did say that sometime between 2023 and 2020, between 2022 and 2023, you should see 2 to 3 movies every year from us and 3 to 4 streamed shows. That's what Brian Goldner wind up saying. He says, and then we'll scale that as we need, as we add new IP while we're also doing the subsequent seasons of the shows that we already have. So again, this isn't saying that they have 2 to 3 Power Ranger movies or anything like that, but it does go to show you the activity that's going on behind the scenes when it comes to Hasbro, and really the idea of them really trying to push a lot of their IP that they have in store for us. One of the things also that wind up really catching my eye is them talking about the idea that Hasbro really didn't have a foothold in the production and the development of their own IP. So they were using a lot of partners to bring their IP to life. But now the fact that they do have Entertainment One, they can really keep all their IP to themselves in the sense of, we can produce it now. We can kind of create our own stuff and now officially just license it out to other people also. So I'm assuming financially that'll definitely just allow them to bring in more revenue. And what also is fascinating to me was this section of the article where Brian Goldner, you guys are very familiar with that, really talked about the plans for what Hasbro wants to do. So listen to this, guys. Listen to this very carefully. It says, even as traditional media companies have increasingly moved towards streaming services, Goldner said Hasbro doesn't plan to launch its own platform, which is something that we speculated, right? When we talked about our potential Hasbro and Toei split, the idea that now that you have sort of acquired all this stuff from Entertainment One, Hasbro is capable very capable of launching their own platform. But we clearly see here that Brian Goldner states that's not quite the plan. Instead, it plans to capitalize on major entertainment brands like Disney, HBO, and Paramount launching rival services. Brian Goldner says, what we found is that all of the big studios have streaming services that are increasingly holding onto their own IP. You guys have seen it, right? The Office, Parks and Rec, some of the Friends, all that stuff being taken off of Netflix or being taken off of these other streaming services and being brought back to their own home, right? So they're controlling their own IP. So he says, therefore, it gives us the opportunity as an independent to go out and present world-class, powerful IP to those streaming services like a Netflix, Apple, Amazon, and other companies who used to have access to those other people's content and are now looking for great brands. So HBO, Disney, and Paramount have kind of opened up a brand new opportunity here for Hasbro to where for those people that do need that content that got stripped away from them, we've got something amazing for you. Let me introduce you to some Power Ranger stuff or some Transformers or G.I. Joe stuff, right? Incredible, man. Really looking forward to seeing what they're doing there. He says Hasbro has dozens of projects in the works that span theatrical, streaming, cable releases. While G.I. Joe Snake Eyes will go to cinemas, its Clue-based animated series is headed to Fox. I think they have a G.I. Joe Lady Jane series that I think is going to Amazon or Paramount or something like that. He says we have it agnostic to delivery. We sell to everyone. So this definitely feels as though they're not going to be content in just sticking with one thing. So when I think of the future of Power Rangers here, this just continues to me when this opens my eyes to the idea that I don't necessarily know if they're going to be content with just staying on Nickelodeon. They seem like they're really open to the idea, like if we're going to put this type of money towards Power Rangers in the future, we've invested over $500 million of our own money to capitalize on Power Rangers. I can honestly see them now that they have Entertainment One, they can put a ton of production value into their own series or animation or movies that they want to create themselves. They don't have to worry about having somebody else create it for them. They can create it themselves. And now you have just an open realm of a ton of different streaming services that are going to be hungry for content. You have your past Power Ranger stuff on YouTube. Fantastic decision and great place to put your past Power Ranger stuff. You've got Dino Fury currently on Nickelodeon. We don't necessarily know what the future of that Nickelodeon deal is going to be, if they're just going to do the 1 year here or if they're going to extend that contract. But you at least hear from them, from Brian Goldner himself, that they're not okay with the idea of just being stagnant and just being sort of loyal to just one particular streaming service as an exclusive. They really have the idea of branching off a lot of their IP to people that are willing to pay for it and are willing to really need that new content. So for me, I do think that Power Rangers, doesn't matter where it goes. Maybe animation will go to Amazon. Maybe live action will go to Netflix. Who certainly knows? But for me, I do think that the opportunities here are certainly boundless when it comes to what Hasbro can certainly do with some of its IP. So I'm really eager for the future of Power Rangers to see where it winds up landing at the end of the day, because it definitely seems as though they understand the idea that streaming certainly is the future. So I'm really fascinated to kind of see how that turns out when it comes to the streaming side of things. But also, not just that, but really just what the future of Power Ranger holds as itself. And again, while we didn't necessarily get new information per se, the emphasis on what they're trying to create has honestly never been stronger, guys. I actually hear just the emphasis and how they talk about Power Rangers on these investor calls. If you didn't have the opportunity to listen to it or watch it, here are a couple of people talking about Power Rangers. into the future and what we can certainly expect. So let me bring this up here. This one actually comes to us from rangerboard.com. They did do a great job this past week of keeping everybody informed. But more on Power Rangers at Hasbro 2021 Virtual Investors event. Another mention of working closely with Jonathan Entwistle and the re-envision of the future.
We are also very excited to reinvent and reignite the next generation of Power Rangers with Dino Fury. Dino Fury is going to bring back dinos with incredible dino-powered toy innovation. One of the hottest themes in Power Rangers history, backed now by E1's production superpowers. We are also partnering closely with E1 and creative steward Jonathan Entwistle to re-envision the future of Power Rangers storytelling and product innovation. We are also very
so re-envisioning and product innovation. I just think it's important to hear some of the words that they're using. Again, is this confirmation, like legit confirmation? I mean, you guys take it as you will. You guys take it as you will. But like when I hear these words like re-envisioning, reimagining, reinventing, a new universe, if you will, that just screams kind of departure. Now, whether or not, that means they're still going to provide us with, Jonathan Entwistle stuff on his own side of things as a reinvention, and maybe some Super Sentai stuff as part of the kid aspect. They don't really go into full detail, but considering the fact that they emphasize Jonathan Entwistle and what he's creating, Jonathan Entwistle has come out and talked about the idea of his universes that he's working on, plans on being all sort of connected, if you will, telling a one sort of larger story. When they say things like that, that's the type of stuff that makes me question, like, are we really getting rid of Super Sentai footage? Are we really? Is that really going to be something of the past? And let me go ahead and throw something else up here for you guys too. This is also from Ranger Board. Let me bring up this. Make sure I just didn't use the same one. Here we go. And it says more on them. Here we go. See, hold on. Let me stop that real quick. Let me bring this back up, because right out the bat, they don't pull any punches, guys. Right out of the bat, they don't pull any punches and telling you what they're trying to achieve here.
Another top priority for us is Power Rangers. I'm excited to say that this brand is about to enter a new era.
So we get immediately, they hit you, a new era.
We're creating a new Power Rangers universe for a broader audience across film, premium TV, animation, and kids content. And to architect this universe, we've engaged the highly sought-after showrunner Jonathan Entwistle, known for the hit series on Netflix, The End of the Effing World. Entwistle has a great passion for Power Rangers. This will be a complete reinvention, and we're hoping...
See, a complete reinvention. Did you hear that? A complete reinvention. So again, they're using terms like a new universe, reinvention. To
spark new interest in this storied property.
I think that's what they're going for, a broader audience.
Another top priority for us is Power Rangers. And I'm excited to say that this brand is about to enter a new era. We're creating a new Power Rangers universe for a broader audience.
New era, new audience, reinvention. I mean, it's all there.
Film, premium TV, animation, and kids content. And to architect this universe, we've engaged the highly sought-after showrunner Jonathan Entwistle, known for the hit series on Netflix, The End of the Effing World. Entwistle has a great passion for Power Rangers. This will be a complete reinvention, and we're hoping to spark new interest in this storied property.
So yeah, guys. Yeah. When you talk about what the future of Power Ranger holds, I feel like it's going to be brand new. People ask me all the time, like, Adam, do you believe in this Hasbro and Toei split? And I got to tell you, man, when Hasbro talks like that, There's one of the reasons why I lean that way, you know. And listen, again, you know, we've talked about the idea like, well, why haven't they announced it? Why haven't they announced it? Well, listen, you just started off with Dino Fury, right? If I'm Brian Goldner and the rest of the team, I'm not trying to give more information than what I already have. Like, I want enthusiasm for Dino Fury. I do not want anything sort of taken away from that momentum, if you will, right? Like, what's the need of dropping that type of information just to maybe upset some fans when you have a brand new season that you just sort of introduced us to, right? So again, a lot of this stuff is very much in early development. I wouldn't be surprised if Jonathan Entwistle and the rest of the crew are behind the scenes right now with a ton of different sort of content that's been brought to them in regards to maybe some of the future Power Ranger ideas. I'm sure they're listening to countless ones, or Jonathan Entwistle's trying to form this gigantic sort of connective universe together, if you will. But you know, when you say things like you're bringing in a new universe, a new era, you're reinventing, you're gonna give us something for premium television, which usually means top production for like a streaming service, animation, kids television show, and things like that. It just feels, again, I'm just going based off of what Hasbro was saying alone, that they have much bigger plans in store for Power Rangers than the concept of reusing Super Sentai footage. I just feel like that's when you tell me reinvention and bringing me something new, that doesn't scream, well, let's keep doing the same old with Super Sentai footage. You know what I mean? Could they? I'm sure they could. Maybe they could present it in a different way. I don't know. But again, I'm just explaining why I lean that way. It could all turn out to be something completely different or false, and that whatever you guys want to believe, whatever you want to believe, that's more than fine. I understand the worry and concern. As a Power Ranger fan, I do. I get the idea that people are attached to Super Sentai. Super Sentai is inherently Power Rangers, is what we've talked about over the years, right? It's hard to imagine what Power Rangers would look like without sort of that Super Sentai footage attached. But I think what Dino Fury is doing is it's kind of giving us a little bit of that world to kind of show how creative they can be with limited, at least, Sentai footage, right? The idea of them still being able to give us a compelling story and something that's rather entertaining with less Super Sentai footage. Now, if they take that same emphasis and excitement and they actually put money and a budget behind it and create brand new suits and brand new Zords and introduce us to Zord battles, maybe it'll still have that feel, but again, reinvented, reimagined, a new era of Power Rangers, just kind of told differently. So for me, I'm perfectly okay with that, but I get the idea of people being so used to this, you know, having been brought up with this for your entire life, understanding how tokusatsu works and how it, blends and mixes perfectly well with Super Sentai. But I think there's also a side of things where you have to start appealing to the more broader audience. And maybe that broader audience just doesn't quite get how tokusatsu maybe works or doesn't appreciate it like some of us fans certainly do, right? So you reinvent, you reimagine, you bring the same concepts of Power Rangers, but to a more modern audience and a more widespread mainstream audiences that can get fully on board with Power Rangers. So I understand perfectly what Hasbro could potentially be trying to do here, but I also understand the side of fans that maybe aren't necessarily thrilled with it. There are aspects of Super Sentai that I might miss if this is actually confirmed, right? Like, and just because I show support for Hasbro possibly doing that, understand that this does not mean I don't understand what some fans are experiencing in their worry and in their doubt, because I do, because I have some worries and concerns of my own. Anytime that there's change, we don't know if this is going to be successful or not. We don't know if they're going to knock this out of the park. It could fall flat on their face. But from what I've seen so far with Beast Morphers Season 2, what I've seen so far with Dino Fury, it makes me think that Hasbro is paying attention to a certain extent. and have the creativity at least to kind of give us stuff that's enjoyable. So we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. But it's, again, the idea of Hasbro pushing this idea that Jonathan Entwistle is this architect of Power Rangers going forward, that he's reinventing, reimagining, giving us a new universe, a new era of Power Rangers. All that just sounds like we're leaving the past behind and we're going to produce something brand new for you guys. And you know, people wonder why I believe this stuff. This is some of the reasons. And you can go ahead on our YouTube page. We also did do a specific video, Hasbro and Toei split. Is this the end of Power Rangers type of thing? We technically talked about 3 specific points as to why we felt it's plausible, like why this potential thing could happen. And when you hear what Hasbro continues to say, it just feels that way. It just feels that way. So we'll see what we get, guys. We'll see what we get. But what I will say is this, and this is to the whole fandom, okay? Power Rangers is big enough for everybody. I don't think that there's I feel like there's a world out there where, as a Power Ranger fan, regardless if you hate what Hasbro might have in store, you know what the fantastic thing is? You still have your Power Rangers of old. You still have 27 seasons of Power Rangers that you can sink your teeth into and go back and enjoy. And you still have that same type of feeling when you go and watch Super Sentai. That will always be there for us, for those Power Ranger fans that maybe don't like what Hasbro's providing for us. But I think also, as a Power Ranger fan, I think that even though first looking at this, you may not be thrilled about it, I just ask that we try and be open-minded in the sense of, let's see what they give us, right? If you're a Power Ranger fan, if somebody's doing something with Power Rangers, I just feel like you should be at least open to that idea, even if you don't necessarily think it's going to be successful, and just kind of see what they give us. You know, let's just not immediately crap on ideas just because we're reactionary or it's just not something that we want, because there are plenty of times when I didn't know I wanted something until it hit me, and I'm just thrilled that I wind up getting it. So again, I understand both sides of the coin here, guys. I truly do. If you want to know where I lean, I do lean towards the side of this Hasbro and Toei potential split that we're supposed to get, just based off of what Hasbro has told me. But that doesn't make me your enemy, okay? That doesn't make me your enemy. Don't hate me for my particular opinion, because at the end of the day, I love knowing yours, and I love being open-minded enough and having us all be able to talk about this stuff and not get butthurt with each other's opinions, but at least be open to what the future could certainly hold. And so we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. But I just thought it was some things to kind of point out as to the verbiage of what Hasbro is utilizing, right? How they are really emphasizing the idea of something new and exciting and a new era and a reinvention. I just don't think we should ignore those type of words or the enthusiasm that Hasbro certainly has. And we'll see what the future holds, right or wrong. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I'm just looking forward to seeing what Hasbro is going to provide for us. So we'll see what that has so far, and what they have presented to me in regards to what I'm watching now. I've been thrilled. So I'm definitely going to give them the opportunity. And I just ask that we all try and do that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and transition over to our next story for a little bit here. In the sense of, you know what? I do want to see what some of you guys are talking about in regards to this. I love this. I'm handsome says Adam is literally talking to us like we're in a business class. Listen, you know, what's the I've said this before. It's not show friends, it's show business, right? Like there is a business aspect to Power Rangers and Hasbro. And while I know that we're all here for Dino Fury reviews and Power Rangers, I like to think that maybe I provide a certain aspect of Power Ranger news or detailed information that maybe others don't. Like I just try and do my best to maybe keep you guys informed as to what's going on behind the business, because I do think that the business side of things does it clearly motivates them to, clearly motivates them to do something fantastic with this stuff. So I don't mean for it to be all business and all numbers, but I do think that is an element that is important to fully understanding just what might be coming in the future for us. You know what I mean? Lindsay, what's up, Lindsay? I want to give you a shout out because I didn't see you earlier. Morphin sequence was amazing and on fire. It absolutely was. I might just play it again before the end of the episode. Can't lie. Dustin, what's up, Dustin? He says, was I the only one who thought name Shockhorn really didn't make sense ability wise? Yeah, I can see what you mean there. He didn't really use his horn much, did he? Isaiah, what's up, Isaiah? Appreciate you coming through. He says, hi, what's up? Thank you very much for coming through today. Midwest, he says, what does reinventing mean to investors? Well, when you tell me reinventing, it's usually, for me, if I was investing in it and they tell me that they were reinventing it, for me, I just kind of say, okay, so what we have for Power Rangers is probably not what we're gonna be getting. They're probably gonna be getting us something brand new that maybe I will bring more income in for me, right? Like they probably have really big plans to do something brand new that will help Power Rangers become more mainstream than what it certainly is, and that hopefully for their investors means more cheddar, means more money. You know what I mean? A reboot, a rehashing, a reimagining, a reinventing, taking what you had and changing it up. So I think that probably, to them, that probably just translates into possibility of more money in their pockets. Or even the idea of like maybe why, and I don't even necessarily know if it's necessarily like shareholders per se, but people that maybe even want to maybe invest some of their own creativity behind it. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're even speaking to like, special effects coordinators or, writers or directors, maybe, people that invest in their company in some way. Maybe this is just an eye-opening for them. What's up, Goda? Appreciate you coming in, Goda. Goda says, I am an animator, so I'd be hyped to see Power Rangers, but even I have to admit it's sad to lose the original way PR is made. No, I get it. There is a really unique element of how Power Rangers is created. For me as a Power Ranger fan, there is a level of excitement that I have every year of wanting to know like what's the next season they're gonna use, right? How much footage are we gonna use? That type of stuff. I love. There is a very unique way of how all that is adapted. That's I'll probably will never fully understand, but I do have an appreciation for it for sure. But yeah, and again, while it may not necessarily include tokusatsu, we are still going to be getting, again, animation, premium television content, kids stuff as well, and movies. So they definitely have positions for everybody right now. JB says, what? Says, I'm here for new and innovative for sure. And I do think, I think we'll get it. I think we'll get it. And JB says, well, that is my worry, that the franchise falling flat on their face as much as I love the brand. Well, listen, I feel like Hasbro, when it comes to Hasbro, I mean, I guess if anything, we would probably look at their track record, right? What are some of the things that they've done with G.I. Joe in the past? Let's not talk about those movies, okay? But they are at least those movies were years ago, though, right? Like we're in a completely different era of Hasbro. I feel like, especially maybe starting from like the Bumblebee movie and Transformers. There were maybe like 2 good Transformers movies in the 5-part series they had by Michael Bay. I really wasn't the biggest fan of those. I did love numbers 1 and 3. But outside of that, Bumblebee was one of my favorites. I'm really looking forward to the G.I. Joe Snake Eye movie that they're supposed to have. They just announced a G.I. Joe Lady Jane series, I believe, on Amazon also. So Hasbro has potential. I think Hasbro has the experience. They have the people behind the scenes that we've been talking about. Michael Lombardo came over from HBO, created amazing content over there, like Boardwalk Empire, Chernobyl, I believe. I think maybe, I don't know if he was there for Game of Thrones or not, but he greenlit a ton of fantastic shows over on HBO and is now working with Entertainment One as well in regards to creating new content. So, maybe he's got an eye for some things that are really appealing when it comes to Power Rangers, and him teaming up with that of Jonathan Entwistle. Maybe they are able to create something fantastic. So, like, I believe in the creativity and the talent in Hasbro to give us something, but there is always that worry that it could fall flat on its face. But if it's anybody, I think Hasbro will certainly take as good care of the franchise and at least get it back into the forefront of people's minds these days. Because as much as we're aware of Power Rangers and Power Rangers still being on, there are plenty out there that don't even know Power Rangers still exists, So trust me, I definitely get it, man. I definitely get it. Yeah, I hope it doesn't go backwards. I don't hope it doesn't go backwards. Dino Real Soul says, I can see in 10 years from now, Hasbro sells Power Rangers back to Saban and we'll be back at square one. God, I hope not. I hope not. But we'll see what we get from Hasbro first and foremost, right? Who knows? Maybe they'll do this for like 2-3 years and people will be screaming for Saban or Disney to come back. Who knows? We'll definitely see, guys. But I try and be as optimistic as I can. I definitely have no problems in looking at the negative side of things or telling you when I have an issue with certain things. You guys have heard plenty of my rants over the years here, okay? So I will tell it like it is. But I definitely do try and go into stuff with open minds and to see what they can give us. So we'll see what the future of Power Ranger holds, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, just wanted to further clarify what happened and what was said at the investor call so you can see, because a lot of people were saying, oh, no, there was no information that came out. And granted, there really wasn't any super like brand new information, but I think the emphasis is certainly important. With that, guys, we're going to go ahead and transition over to topics. We're going to go ahead and round out this episode for you guys. And we'll jump into Boom Studios, ladies and gentlemen, because before we know it, we're going to have ourselves another one-shot that's going to be dropping here. Power Rangers Unlimited Heir to the Darkness is set to go ahead and drop for us here rather soon. I'm going to be examining the life of Roan, aka Astronema, during her sort of rise to power, if you will. That sort of untold story of Astronema. We're going to be getting deep into it here rather soon. And so I believe this comes to us from Games Radar. They had the opportunity to actually sit down with the author and storyteller of this particular novel. I wanted to go ahead and just highlight just what she wind up having to say to see if this is something that might even fascinate you in regards to should you pick up this particular title. So let's go ahead and bring this up for us. It says the title of the article, Power Rangers Assassin turned Pink Ranger gets her own story told. It says one of the most popular and complicated villains in the Power Ranger franchise is finally getting her story told in the upcoming comic book One Shot. Before she was the villain Astronema and before she became a Pink Ranger, she was a girl named Corone, and this is her story. Novelist L.L. McKinney and Ragazzoni, the artist, will reveal the secret origin of the so-called Princess of Evil and how she was kidnapped from her home world by Darkonda. Going on sale March 31st, ladies and gentlemen. So March 31st will in fact be your opportunity to go ahead and pick up this novel, and we will be reviewing the novel for you guys also. We have on our Patreon account, we in fact do have exclusive one-shots from Boom Studios that we will in fact be revealing for you guys also. I believe we actually did get ourselves a brand new Patreon, patron as of yesterday too. Let me go ahead and pull this up just to make sure. Let me go ahead and give them a quick shout out. Make sure that they're there. GSP. Thank you very much, man. the ratty email ratty. But yeah, geez, Pete, thank you very much for becoming a fellow Patreon and certainly supporting the channel that way. So thank you very much for that. But let's go back to this real quick. Did my freeze on me again, guys? I think my shit froze on me. Did it freeze on me? Oh, there we go. I think we're back. Are we back? Okay, I think we're back. So yeah, going on sale March 31st. Newsarama, that's where it comes from. Newsarama actually had the opportunity. Oh, is it going to make me exit? Yeah, my thing is crapping on me, guys. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second here, guys. I think my, yeah, I think I lost that page. It became, let me see if I can refresh that though. And I'll bring it back up here in a little bit. The internet, man. You know what I'm saying? I am planning on investing in new internet here rather soon though, guys. So certainly don't worry in regards to that. Probably toward the end of March, me and the girlfriend actually maybe moving in. And so we've already talked about the idea of upping our internet provider for sure. So look here. Okay, I think I got it back, guys. Yes. Yes, sir. Or at least I thought I did. The pressures and the stresses of going live. Newsarama says, L, how did you approach writing the origin story for one of the most memorable Power Ranger characters here with Power Rangers Heir to the Darkness? She says, I took what made her memorable to fans, both past and present, myself being a huge fan as well, and mixed it with elements that I felt made this season in particular so great. There's a side to Corone we all know is there. You don't get to be second in command of the literal empire of evil for nothing. It wasn't ever explored in depth. I'm too hyped to be able to get to do that. They say your one shot will show what happened to Astronema after she was kidnapped from her home planet. How will her character's personality and skill set be affected prior to becoming the Princess of Evil? She says, I think a lot of who Corone was as a person in the beginning definitely informed who she was as Astronema. She says her accomplishments, it says her cunning, her skills in combat, her magical abilities, her accomplishments as a strategist, her drive, and her loyalty, even if it's to the wrong people and cause. She exhibits a number of traits we'd consider admirable if she wasn't the Princess of Evil, you know? All of that went into her choosing to be who she became. So I want to focus on her capability. On top of that, I want to examine how her circumstances impacted the relationship she informed and how they developed and morphed over time. Corone is really fascinating and just awesome. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. She's definitely one of the more fascinating Power Ranger characters just based off of her journey alone. It says, although these comics will be tied into the events related to Power Ranger or the MMPR team, she has a connection to in space. Who else can we expect to see in this comic? So clearly Ecliptor and Dark Spectre is going to show up. And she said anybody else would certainly be a spoiler. She talks a little bit about the idea of redemption arcs too, because they mentioned the idea that she kind of has some similarities to that of, say, the Ranger Slayer herself. And she says redemption arcs sometimes are, redemption arcs are something of a sore spot for me when it comes to storytelling. Mostly, basically, in my opinion, they're hardly ever done correctly, or they're never given the chance to come full circle to truly reach their completion. But I absolutely understand the appeal of the arc. I understand its importance. I think people are drawn to the idea that good things eventually overcome evil, no matter how that story is told, and whether or not the arc is a true redemption story arc or not are things to be discussed. But the ideal behind even a poor execution is one that resonates. And I could not agree more. You guys know, when it comes to me, I'm a huge sucker of redemption stories. They just give me all the types of feels. I love seeing people being able to overcome tragedies in their lives, or overcome, the pressures or the evils that are in their lives, and have their eyes opened and kind of turned around a little bit. So the story of Corone, is really fascinating to me. And I will say this, even Ryan Parrott this past week highlighted this particular article and mentioned that this is probably going to be a pretty important story, that if you are following the Boom Studios comics, whether it's the Power Rangers series or the Mighty Morphin series, this is going to be one that's going to be rather pivotal. Just recently in the Power Rangers issue number 4, I believe, that we just got this week, they did reveal that one of the planets that they're going to focus on is the planet Onyx, which gets shown in Power Rangers in Space. And I think throughout the Power Ranger franchise a little bit, I think the planet Onyx popped back up again in Lost Galaxy, and I think it might have popped up somewhere else also, but it was really focused on in space. And so the idea that Ryan Parrott is introducing us to planet Onyx in the comic books, and now here at the end of March, we're going to be getting ourselves sort of an in-themed space, or I should say in space themed one shot. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if there are connections there, or if this is Ryan Parrott's way of letting us know like his Power Rangers series is maybe pushing towards that next level in regards to introducing us to some in-space characters, if you will. So I think this is going to be a really great one. I'm really looking forward to it. L.L. McKinney as the author in here, the novelist, she certainly seems like she's got her head wrapped around who Carone certainly is as a person. And for me, this is very much an untold story. You know, that time of being taken away from her family, the time that Andros, doesn't know what's fully happened to her, if you will, before he winds up getting that revelation in space. So I really want to know that in-between story. I think this is going to be pretty interesting. And again, we will be doing a review for you guys for this if you're a Patreon member. So definitely go ahead and check it out whenever you guys get the opportunity to certainly do so. But yeah, March 31st, ladies and gentlemen, check out your local comic book stores for Power Rangers Unlimited Heir to the Darkness. It'll be here before we know it. If I could be perfectly honest, like this month, I feel like this year in general has just flown by, man. It's just kind of come and gone almost. I mean, it's about to be March, and I just don't even remember when. Like, it felt like the new year was literally just here. You know what I mean? But yeah. Before I transition over, because we talked a little bit about our Patreon, let us do a little bit of housekeeping around here, because we do need to keep these lights on around here, guys. So however you want to go ahead and support this channel, we certainly would appreciate it, guys. Check us out, patreon.com/A+opinions. We do, in fact, have ourselves a Patreon account. We've got exclusive content, early access content for you guys. 3 different tiers from $1 to $5 to $10. And the great thing about our Patreon is because of the fact that we have 2 YouTube channels, you get 2 YouTube channels worth of exclusive and early access content, guys. So if you're a big Power Ranger fan, we got you covered. If you're a big Marvel and DC or movies and television fan, we got you covered there also. So definitely go ahead and check us out. If you can, certainly support us that way. And if you certainly cannot, more than understandable, but definitely go ahead and help us out in other ways. That subscribe button, that like button, that's, leaving the comments behind. All that certainly does go a long way, ladies and gentlemen. But with that out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and wrap up this show with some tokusatsu information before we get to your live viewer questions. And our first topic, we're just going to get into Zenkaiger the rest of the way, because Zenkaiger debuts next week. Can you believe that, guys? Zenkaiger debuts next week. This is the final week for Karamager. We will have episode number 45, the final episode of Karamager, up for you on our channel on Tuesday morning. So definitely look out for that. We love to celebrate Toku Tuesdays. So it will be up for Tuesday for you guys. But after that, that's Karamager wrapped up and completed, and we're going to be looking forward to Zenkaiger. This actually comes to us from Tokusatsu Network. I'm getting the opportunity to talk to the actual Zenkaiser, the leader of the team himself, Nkita Komajin. He talked a little bit about just him being part of the cast and being brought in also. And I always just love seeing just their personalities kind of shine in these little interviews. So I thought it would be pretty cool to kind of bring this up here for a brief moment at least. So let's just go ahead and highlight this article. Komajin shares thoughts about being cast for Zenkaiger. He does say in here, he says, there were 4 of us who got the offer. Komajin revealed when asked about receiving the role of Kaido, aka Zenkaiser. He says, "I thought there were faces I didn't see at the audition." He said, "There's a huge mix of emotions. People often say it feels like a dream in interviews. Right? I wondered about that, but it really does feel like a dream. It was so unbelievable. I worried I'd wake up from this in the morning." Yeah, I can only imagine. And he winds up concluding by telling the fans, "Making our first debut here was a little nerve-wracking, but thanks to your warm welcome, I'm calm now. I'm very happy to have put a lot of our love into this movie." So I'm assuming this is probably maybe when they are probably talking about I think I can't remember when this actually happened. Maybe last week, I believe they might have had this press conference sometime. But when they always got to come out, introduce themselves, do a little bit of a roll call and stuff. But we do get to see that emphasized a little bit in here too. I will say this. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. Let me see if I can. Oh, I didn't know it dropped the stream. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up. I will share the audio from this too, just briefly. But this is his particular their roll caller. This is him introducing himself to the rest, to everybody. And I'm listening out for the music too. Oh, they gotta. Is that what they gotta do? They literally gotta like roll up their gear clingers to get ready. I'm assuming this is all part of their morphing sequence that we'll probably get the opportunity to see in Zenkaiger, maybe just minus the special effects. Yo, I absolutely love that Gown's call. He's roaring like he's a lion. I freaking love that. That's such a great little addition. Majin just looking as cute as can be. I like it. Yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. I think it'll be good. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Kita Komajin here knocks it out of the park as Zenkaiser. I believe he mentioned the idea, if I recall from past experiences, this might be his first time acting. I don't believe he's got much stuff under his belt, so he must have really impressed first time around. I don't recall if you look at his if he has things on his like I am DB, if he even has a page as of yet. I'm kind of curious if there is anything on there, honestly. The idea of him talking about him being nervous, I'm sure, granted, everybody would be nervous in their first introduction to the entire world. You know what I'm saying? Being the lead of your own Super Sentai season, yeah, that's got to be a lot of pressure on you for sure. But I'll keep my fingers crossed for Kito Komajin. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to go ahead and share that with you, just some of the words that he wind up saying to his fans and things like that. So and then last but not least, guys, we did get ourselves some brand new Zenkaiger scans this week to kind of give us an emphasis on the Sentai gear powers that they're going to be capable of using. And this is one of the aspects that I was really looking forward to. I wasn't sure if the Sentai gears would maybe give Zenkaiger brand new costumes with each Sentai gear that he uses, but I will say the Sentai gears definitely will at least give you brand new abilities and maybe even some brand new weapons that they can utilize. So let's look at some of these scans that they wind up giving us here. You can see some of, even like in the bottom left-hand corner, like the wings that he's using from Zuojer. I believe that's probably from the Sentai gear selection also. It looks like he's opening up a safe too in that top hand corner. I'm not quite sure exactly where that comes from. I think there's another shot here. Let me see if I have it in here. Yeah, there we go. Of seeing the Zoosier wings that he's combined with. In the bottom left-hand corner, you can actually see, it looks like Go Buster. It says Go Buster's powers, Red Buster's speed, and dash attacks he can utilize when he's using the Go Buster Sentai gear. There's also another shot in here, which looks like, I think the very bottom, you get to see Tokuger a little bit. It says Tokuger Sentai gear. The team forms a train line linked attack, which I always love, especially in their morphing sequence when it comes to when it comes to Tokuger, how they get in their lines and they just they just lock themselves in place, if you will. It definitely feels as though there's going to be a little bit of that in there also. Let's see here. Oh, you see the ribbons down below. What's this? Says Goggle V, Goggle V, the team ribbon attack. It looks like they're probably going to be using that. You see Zenkaiger with the spear. That's directly from Die Ranger. It says Dairen Rod attack. So that looks like that's going to be a power up that he's going to be able to utilize also. I think there is a ninja there somewhere. I don't know if there's a cleaner shot for that or not, but there is there's you got Hurricaneger, where you can use Hurricane Red's Sky Dash attack. There's also Ninja, the Nin Retsuzin attack. I'm butchering these names. There's a Lupin Ranger, the ability of the Lupin Rangers and the ability to open safes. Oh, which that makes sense then when we go back to this picture here. The idea of Zenkaiser opening up this safe, that's clearly a Lupin Ranger ability that they're using from the Sentai. That's pretty cool. And then there is also an all red Sentai gear where it summons all the Red Rangers. I'm wondering if that's the image that we actually see in the movies itself. Maybe that's why all those people are there, or maybe that's an ability that's bestowed upon. Maybe that's an ability that's bestowed upon Zenkaiser after the movie to be able to call upon them when they certainly need. That's pretty neat stuff, man. Let me see some other photos that they wind up showcasing us as we get the opportunity to see some of their Zords combined. And it says, and finally, when the battle goes on epic proportions, the Kikanoids will grow into their giant size and combine into the Zenkai O combinations, which consist of Juragown and Reimagined, with Zenkaiger piloting these mechas. Their final attacks include the Ingetsu Crash and the Room Picker. Okay, interesting. Maybe this is the Crash, and maybe this is the Room Picker. Maybe, yeah, that's like Majin Room, and this is Jurin Gown. So yeah, probably what we're going to be getting there. And also you get to see a little bit of a glimpse of the cockpit itself here in this photo from the scan in the bottom left-hand corner, considering the fact that these are all robots with the exception of Zenkaiser himself. I'm really fascinated to see what the cockpit of this mecha is going to look like, especially if it's, because I'm under the impression that it's just going to be a one-man cockpit. Since really, literally, the other robots have transformed into these giant ass Zords themselves. So that is one aspect of Zenkaiser. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how that gets introduced to us when it comes to its mechas. But guys, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are in regards to some of these scans. The Sentai gears and the Gearslinger, very fascinating morphing technology for sure, and the ability to give them powers that I don't think we've been really it should be interesting to see how they're handled throughout this entire season, honestly. But guys, listen, at the end of the day, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the Zenkaiger scans that you see here, and how excited are you for Zenkaiger when it comes to its premiere next week, ladies and gentlemen? Again, all of our Super Sentai reviews will drop Tuesday mornings. I usually drop them like 10 a.m. or at noon Central Time for you guys, but Toku Tuesday is usually our big day. All right, guys, let me go ahead and jump into the live chat with you guys. Not the live chat, but the live viewer questions. Because if I could be honest with you guys today, We got a lot of questions, guys. We got a lot of questions. So I probably will wrap up with live viewer questions today, but feel free to certainly continue to talk amongst yourselves in the live chat, guys. I appreciate you guys having a very great community here, first and foremost. And again, as always, listen, guys, despite everybody's opinions, I appreciate you guys continuing to respect each other. And again, just be mindful, right? We don't have to treat each other terribly just because we don't necessarily always agree. Just be very mindful, open-minded, and definitely continue to spread that love, guys. Spread that love, and just welcome everybody into this family. So, all right, let's go into some of these questions, guys. We got a few to go ahead and get into today. So let's have some fun with these. Johnny Marrero, what's up, Johnny? Appreciate you coming through, man. He says, Adam, 3 questions. During Hasbro's Investors Day, they announced they are partnering with Nickelodeon to make a new animated Transformers series. So does that mean we could see the same treatment for Power Rangers partnering with Nickelodeon with new projects instead of being acquired? It definitely opens up the door for that if they want to. Whether or not that means that Power Rangers live action will go there, the animation side perhaps maybe might go over to Nickelodeon. The one thing that even though they are doing a Transformer series for Nick, understand that this is a perfect example of what they mean by they spread the wealth. You know what I mean? They have no problem spreading the wealth. They don't want to necessarily keep all of their content on one specific thing, right? You look at Netflix, they've got Transformers War of Cybertron trilogy that's up there. Yet you look at Nickelodeon, you see there's a Transformer show there as well. So this doesn't necessarily mean that Power Rangers will be excluded to just solely Nickelodeon. They do have the ability to send Power Rangers elsewhere. Maybe there will still be Power Ranger content on Nickelodeon, but I'm not under the impression that all of their stuff will be there. One of the things that they emphasized in the meeting that I wrote down, this is from Darren Thorpe, the CEO. He says, a side note, he says, they're pairing the right talents with the right product, and it keeps the doors open for many other opportunities in the future. But it says the idea that you were referring to in here, Johnny, spreading content around also helps spread the risk, right? So it's riskier for them to put all their content in one position, whereas now that we have all these streaming services and people are fiending for content, the idea of spreading your content now means spreading the risk. So if one thing bombs, you don't have to worry about all of it bombing. You know what I mean? So just because Transformers is going Nickelodeon doesn't mean Power Rangers will exclusively be on there. Hasbro has an open mind enough to go ahead and spread their content around. So I am expecting it to be a little bit of everywhere. You say, Adam, are you happy that Dino Fury won't have a comedy duo and the villains and the Rangers will handle the comedy? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think they've been able to either hear from us Power Ranger fans that have had issues with the comedy duo, or they've seen past seasons and to see how other seasons have utilized their comedy duo, and they've clearly have made corrections and adjustments here this season. I'm okay with the villains being comedic if you have just one person like Mucus, right? He seems like he's probably going to be the comedic aspect of the show, and the dialogue will probably do the rest. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe I'll be interested to see the personalities of both Izzy and Javi, if any of our Rangers have that sort of funny bone in them to be a comedy aspect. But even if not, I think the writers are doing such a great job with the dialogue alone that they're allowing everybody to kind of dabble in that humor, right? It's all about dialogue, timing, how you say your lines and things like that. So I think that's the trajectory that they're taking. But I'm very pleased with this so far. And then lastly, you say, will Hasbro and Jonathan Entwistle still make the kids-oriented PR season without Sentai or original series? Again, I'm very much under the impression that they're going to be making their own original Power Rangers seasons, but they do plan on at least making kid-oriented stuff. you know, I don't know what Hasbro's doing behind the scenes. Again, the emphasis that they have on reinventing, reimagining, bringing us into a new era. It feels like they're leaving those old ways that they put behind them. But I mean, maybe kid-oriented stuff, they kind of keep that stuff around. I don't know, but I'm still under the impression that even if it's kid-oriented stuff, maybe maybe they see a fantastic job that Simon Bennett is doing, and maybe they bring him into the fold. But I don't know. You know, Simon Bennett did mention the idea that him and Jonathan Entwistle have not spoken or have not talked about it. Now, I don't know if that's Simon Bennett just being honest. I mean, maybe it is. I'm not calling the man a liar, but I also just think that sometimes there are certain things you can't say out to the media or the public, you know? So I don't know which position that it certainly is when it comes to Simon Bennett, but after seeing what he's done for Power Rangers so far, you know, I would like to see some of these people be able to keep a job, you know, keep them around, keep them in the as part of the team. Because if you are going to continue to do kid-oriented stuff, maybe you already have a really good team on your hands. And maybe if you can work together with Jonathan Entwistle to make sure what you're creating on the kids side meshes well with what they're creating on the more, you know, adult-themed or animation side of things, maybe we can have something really, really special there, even minus the Super Sentai footage, if you will. But again, from what I'm taking from Hasbro and what they're saying, it feels like it's a departure from Super Sentai, but we'll see. We'll see as the time goes. Dino Fury, what's up, Dino Fury? Appreciate you coming through. What theme or storyline do you want to see Power Rangers to have, even the TV series or Hasbro movie, or if Hasbro and Toei split? What theme or storyline do you want Power Rangers to have? Oh, that's a good question. I will say this right off the bat. I did love the premise of what they had for the Power Ranger movie, or at least some of the details that I thought that we heard. The idea of grabbing a group of kids from the current day and bringing them back into the past. Now, whether or not that means that you now behold upon these new characters, sort of the MMPR dinosaur abilities, or if there's something else that you wind up giving this cast, I definitely at least want to see original characters with some sort of brand new suits, if I can. Whether that be dinosaur themed or another theme, either or I'm perfectly okay with. Storylines that I want to see Power Rangers tackle, just anything outside of the lessons of the day, you know, the struggles of what it like, just real lifetime struggles that people have to deal with on a regular basis. Maybe somebody got fired from the freaking job or something like that, right? Like just human aspects that we normally don't really get to see happen in Power Rangers, because it's always so focused on what the story wants to tell. Whereas here, I would like to see more long drawn out story arcs, not so much the episodic field, one episode leading into the next type of thing. I really want to see them grow the brand in that way, if you will. So I don't know if that fully answered your question, Dino Fury, but because I just don't know what the future holds. So I'm just trying to do my best in regards to figuring out what I would like to personally see. Do you like that Astronomer Crone was the only main villain to transition to a Power Ranger the following year, allowing her to redeem her past? I will say I truly loved it because I was not expecting it. When she popped up in Lost Galaxy, I was like, "Is that that's Crone? Was she gonna become Power?" Like, it blew my mind. It did blow my mind. While I crap on Lost Galaxy, I'm not the biggest fan of Lost Galaxy. I know there's a lot of people. Don't throw tomatoes at me. Don't throw tomatoes at me. Okay, let's not cancel Adam today. That's not what we're having. Don't at me, bro. I'm just not the biggest fan of Lost Galaxy, but I will say I love the death of a Power Ranger. Never saw that coming. The idea of Corona, a past villain, turning into a Power Ranger, never saw that coming. So she's definitely immediately a character that you just kind of are so fascinated with just because of her past. But I did like it. So I'm all on board for this Heir to the Darkness comic book that we're going to be getting. You also say, when Saban brought the rights back from Disney, how did you find out that Power Rangers came back with Samurai? I think I might have saw an ad for it. If anything, I think I do. Okay, I do remember, because I'm a huge comic book fan. In the back of the comics, sometimes in the middle of the pages, or maybe like when you open up the comic, that inside or the very back cover on the inside of it, sometimes in the middle you might have ads, or that kind of pop up. And I do remember seeing Power Rangers Samurai on there, and it got me fascinated. I remember being finding the costumes really appealing. And so for me, I think that's what led to me doing some more research in regards to Samurai and finding out that it was in fact Saban. But it was probably an ad in a comic book, honestly, that brought my attention to this actually happening. Let's see here. I'm handsome, dude. He's got 3 questions. What were the best moments from Power Rangers and Sentai history? Man, my best moments. Golly. 2 jump right off to me right off the bat. Forever Red, I thought, was a fantastic historical moment, and the return of Jason was a pretty historical moment for me. Some of my favorite moments, because I'm an old school guy. I'm an old school type of guy, guys. So a lot of my moments that impactful for me kind of hit me when I was really young, and have always kind of carried over for me. So, and I'll even say the return of Tommy as the White Ranger. That shit like surprised the hell out of me too. Yeah, there's a lot, man. There's a lot. I feel like I can go down Sentai history from one of the Sentai stuff that I've watched so far. Some of my best moments. Golly, man. Golly, that's a hard one. There's so many damn good ones. One that comes to mind immediately for me, because I think it's still pretty fresh and it's still impactful for me. Go Busters, probably one of the final battles. If it wasn't the mid-season battle, also the finale battle, there's a level of emotion that just really carried on, emotion and family message and theme that's just carried on all season long, that really makes those moments incredibly impactful when you watch them. That definitely stands out to me. There's so many, bro. I'm trying to think of, like, Kara Major has had the redemption story of Garza here just recently, and Kara Major. There's a ton, man. There's a ton. I maybe I'll have to make a video of that. Maybe you guys are giving me some great video ideas here. My favorite moments in Super Sentai or something. What do you think made In Space one of the best seasons in Power Rangers? One, we got off of Earth. I think the idea that you're literally taking Power Rangers that has been built up over several years in one particular location and expanding it. So, giving us different planets, if you will, new villains, get a fresh take, right? I felt like this is also, this for me also, outside of Turbo, I felt really was like just truly fresh faces. You know what I mean? Having a new group of people to be sort of hang out with, right? Like, we didn't have Tommy and Catherine and them any longer sort of attached to this team. This truly was like an all new team. Like, even though we got TJ and Cassie, right? The idea of a new Red Ranger and Andros just kind of coming in on his own and having to see how that Power Ranger team comes together. Also, just so many really fascinating storyline elements that worked out. And then honestly, when you see that this story is connected to the overall sort of Zordon era or the Zordon arc, the emphasis on, the discovery of Caron's Astronomer's true identity, really great villains in Astronema and Ecliptor, and just all of them, man. I mean, I just thought it was, goodness, even opening up that series with the dinner of villains, if you will, right? Andros trying to infiltrate them. That type of stuff is really cool to me, man. So yeah, I think it was just so totally unique in its own right, doing something new that made it so successful. When Disney still owned Power Rangers, not only did they air the newest season, they also aired reruns of every Power Rangers series from Mighty Morphin to Time Force. Do you wish Nickelodeon did that too, or Hasbro let another network do it too, but instead have two new seasons run at the same time? Ooh. I do think that at some point in time we will have two seasons. I do wholeheartedly believe that. I do think that there will be a time when it's not just going to be an animated series on TV. No, I do think that there will be an animation of Power Rangers, and I do believe that there will be a main series of Power Rangers, whether that be adult themed or kids series. I do think at some point in time we will have more than one Power Ranger product on TV at once. Do I wish that they would do that? Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got the content for amazing marathons. I think the Power Rangers Kids official page might do that with Dino Charge, which I think is pretty cool. I have been thinking about jumping on board there and rewatching the season because it's available there. But I do think that they do that from time to time with Dino Charge. But I would love if they did that more often. I truly would with past seasons. Just great marathons. Let's see here. Dino Real Soul Fury has a couple of questions. What did you think of episode 2 of Dino Fury compared to the premiere? I thought it held on to the momentum really great. You know, I don't know if Beast Morphers did that. Beast Morphers came out of the gate swinging with the first episode. I feel like maybe the second episode was a little bit of a downgrade. Not saying that I thought the episode was bad. It just didn't have that same impact for me. So I think they did their part, right? You came out the gate swinging with episode 1. Can you keep that momentum with episode 2? And the answer to that is definitely yes. Did it feel like it was a continuation or a different episode? It felt like it was a continuation. When you jump right into the episode and they have them training, it feels very much like it definitely is a continuation. It didn't feel like I feel like they are doing a better job of serializing it instead of making it just episodic each episode, you know, like just telling its story and closing it off. It very much feels like it leaves some things open-ended towards the very end so you can continue into the next episode for sure. I just want to pop up in here. It says Adamba, what's up, Adamba? Appreciate you coming in. Do you think the Dino Fury morph is better than Beast Morphers? Yes, I do. I do. I enjoyed the Beast Morphers morph. I mean, it was unique in its own way, I guess. You know, I wanted more than just a swirling circle of clouds with the animal coming out. Cool effect. I will give them that. But I just think there's just a lot more going on in Dino Fury that works really well together. Better graphics, I feel like. A better composer. Better music to be accompanied with that. It looks cleaner too to me. I don't think they focused really so much on that on Beast Morphers as they are paying more attention to it to Dino Fury. So for me, it does make Dino Fury a little bit better. Quick shout out to Emmanuel. What's up, Emmanuel? Appreciate you coming through. You also say Dino Real Soul. What are your top favorite or least favorite morphs in Power Rangers or Super Sentai? Ooh, that's a good one. Zeo always comes to mind. I always love Zeo's morph. I always thought that was pretty cool, honestly, too. Let's see here. Who else did I like? I actually didn't mind. Hold on, let me just make sure. I enjoyed Time Force for sure. I thought Time Force was pretty good. Wild Force I thought was pretty good too for me. Zeo for me is one of my favorites though. I don't know if it was like just the symbols I think that get me each and every time, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Which Red Ranger did you like the most in the Neo Saban era? And which character in Beast Morphers, Ranger or not? Neo Saban era, my favorite Red Ranger, probably Tyler. And then after that, for me, probably Devin. But yeah, definitely Tyler. I think Tyler wins takes the cake for me in regards to that. And which character in Beast Morphers was my favorite? Yeah, I would say it's close. Roxy and believe it or not, Roxy and Ravi were probably my two characters that I really enjoyed. I think Ravi, oh man, that's a close one. It's I'll have my top three. My top three for sure. Roxy, Ravi, and Nate. Roxy, Ravi, and Nate for me are my top three from Beast Morphers. I wasn't expecting much from Ravi's character, and they blew me away with just some of the things that he was dealing with as a character. Always loved Roxy. I thought Roxy was fantastic, at least in season 1. I was a really big fan of hers. But Ravi was always season 1 and season 2, great stuff with him. Roxy, fantastic in season 1, and Nate just blew my mind in season 2. I'm Hamson says, please put a timestamp on the different topics for today's episodes and going forward. I always do, man. I'm way ahead of you, bro. You're taken care of. Don't worry about that. JB says, what if you go back and check out the other A+ Morphinominals, you will definitely see that. JB says, what? He says, do you think the reinvention will be something all new, not relying on MMPR, or a reboot of MMPR? I'm under the impression that it will be a reinvention of the MMPR team. And what I mean by that is kind of what I was talking about earlier, the idea of if, again, we do have a brand new writer attached to the Power Ranger movie. It was somebody else when it was attached to Paramount. When they moved it over to Entertainment One, they wind up getting themselves a brand new writer in Brian Edward Hill. So the information that we have for the Power Ranger movie was prior to this movement and new writers. So I don't know what they're keeping and what they're not. But I've always been under the impression very much that it'll be a future team of brand new characters, not Jason, Billy, Kimberly. No. Please do not. No. Brand new group of characters brought back into the past, have to face off against something. Maybe they meet Zordon, who certainly knows. I don't know. Maybe they meet a new person and give them powers. I'm under the impression if they're being brought back into the past for the 90s, it's probably for a reason. And I do think that reason probably is going to be MMPR, because it's dinosaurs. Hasbro has mentioned dinosaurs continues to sell. So maybe, if anything, maybe while it will be MMPR related, maybe it'll be new Zords, right? A new combination of dinosaurs that they can utilize. I'm expecting, if they say in reinvention, I'm expecting new origin stories for each of these characters. I'm expecting them to eventually get put back into their time and having to represent a new generation of MMPR, but in our time period, if you will. So I am expecting maybe brand new suits, new Zords, new villains, new threats for them, new storylines, and maybe the occasional dabbing into that Power Ranger lore a little bit, because of the fact that there are influences of MMPR. So no, I'm not expecting a reboot of a new group of Billy, Tommy's, Jason, Zach. I'm not there. I don't think it's going to be the same MMPR costumes. I do think that they probably have a new story to tell based around the influence, if you will, some of the theme of MMPR, but still in our modern time, new villains, new Zords, new costumes, new adventures type of thing. So that's how I'm kind of thinking when they say reinvention, reimagining what we have here. Do you think the new movie will be similar to Turbo, which was a lead into the series? In the sense of it being a lead into the series, yes, I'm under that impression that that's what they might do. For me, I would like to see whoever this cast is. And by the way, I did do my own fantasy casting for the Power Ranger movie and series going forward by Jonathan Entwistle. That video is also on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and check it out whenever you get the chance to, guys. But I'm hoping that we will have ourselves an actual movie cast that will also transition into its own series, and those same cast members certainly coming back also, so that they're a focus of the movies and the main television series also. So those are my assumptions, and so we'll see what happens. JB says what? But thank you for the question, man. I always appreciate it, bro. Shadow Nova Productions coming in. In today's episode, we got an Overdrive Easter egg. I honestly would prefer Easter eggs rather than cameos and references. Do you think they should do more Easter eggs rather than cameos? I think there's a world where there's a little bit of a balance. I think you could probably do more. Easter eggs are really great. I do love Easter eggs. The Hartford Robotics, really great. Shout out to Operations Overdrive and Andrew and his son. I'll take a little bit of both. For me, cameos kind of, while Easter eggs are great nods, cameos help me sometimes maybe fill in some blanks, right? What have these characters been up to? So they definitely add two completely different things at times. So I say give it all to me, man. Give it all to me. If you can mix in this season, I have a feeling this season will probably be more Easter eggs than cameos, and I'm okay with it based off of the pandemic and maybe not being able to get that many people in. But I'm okay either way. Ranger Class 101, what's up? Morphinominal first 2 episodes, Ranger Class says. Thank you very much for the question. He says, I haven't been excited for a Saturday morning show since Disney era with Jetix. The week felt so long for episode 2. Really excited for this season. Hopefully Void Knight doesn't disappoint like Blaze. No, I don't think Void Knight's going to be disappointing us like Blaze, man. So I'm right there with you. Blaze had so much potential, and I just felt it was a little bit of wasted potential, honestly. But I'm right there with you, right? One of the things that I said at the very top of this episode was, I don't know if an episode of Power Rangers has done such a great job of carrying me through the week as this show certainly has so far. And we're only 2 episodes in. I don't know the trajectory of this season, but they definitely have started off fantastically well. So I get the sentiments, Ranger Class, for sure, that having that enthusiasm for Power Rangers. Not to say that I wasn't enthusiastic about Beast Morphers, because I really enjoyed Beast Morphers. I thought it was a great, like a breath of fresh air compared to everything that we got. And Dino Fury is just taking advantage of that and just upping its level. But this just hits differently, it hits differently. And I agree with you, man. It's carrying me through the week. I've never been more excited for Saturdays, guys. So thank you for joining us, most importantly, and thank you for watching the show. L'Oreal, she says, what was your favorite part of Dino Fury today? The morph. And not just the morph, but also the training up to the morph, right? Because it goes to show you not only Zayto's leadership, but his mentor skills, his confidence in himself. He knows what he's doing. And then just seeing the crew itself with training, getting better to the point to where he's like smooth. And it was smooth, and it was epic. And the beat drop and the music, it won me over. I probably watched that scene more times than anything else, honestly. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite part. Quick shout to Kareem for jumping on in here too, man. Thank you very much, Kareem, for making your presence felt also. You got your tissues ready for the end game. This weekend is where we say goodbye to our Rangers, talking about care measures. Yes, I do have some tissues. Maybe I should go out and get a whole new box today, though, to get ready for it, guys. I'll try not to be emotional on my review, but who knows, man? Who knows? I'm an emotional guy, so we'll see what happens there. But I'm excited and sad all at the same time. Care Measure's been a fantastic season. If you guys have been wanting to get into Super Sentai and you haven't dabbled in it, check it out, man. Check it out. Care Measure's been fantastic. Again, you had to say it, didn't you? You had to mention that which. Oh, did you send these? When did you send these? You sent this today? Oh, talking about Kiri. I can't remember her name now. Kirihana, was that her name? I don't remember. Adrian, what's up, my brother? Appreciate you, brother from another mother over here. Appreciate you sending in some questions. Now that we've got a new morphing sequence for Dino Fury, what are your favorite morphs in Power Rangers history? Yeah, we kind of mentioned that a little bit. Zeo for me jumps out at me. I do want to go back. I'm sure there's probably a YouTube channel that probably has all the morphing sequences. I definitely will go ahead and revisit it, maybe give my top. I'm going to start writing this shit down. Top 5 morphing sequences. Video on the way. Top 5 morphing. Definitely. I'll definitely do that since I'm so hyped for this morphing sequence. Is it true that someone from Power Rangers Ninja Steel is returning? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? So yes, Mick from Ninja Steel is in fact going to be returning. For right now, I'm going to say it's a good thing. While I am hesitant because Ninja Steel is a season I personally would like to forget. Also, real quick shout out to Wuzo. Wuzo, what's up, Wuzo? Appreciate you coming through, Wuzo. Despite me not being the fan of Ninja Steel, not really wanting to go back and revisit it, one of the bright spots for me was in fact Mick. A fantastic actor. They've brought him back several reasons for a reason. And if you're gonna tell me you're gonna bring back one of the bright spots of Ninja Steel mixed in with the type of writing that we're getting from Becca and Alwyn and this Dino Fury just crew in general, yeah, I'm open to that. I'm open to that idea. So I do think the return of Mick will be something that maybe people aren't expecting. I get the worry because there's anytime you try and involve Ninja Steel, I'm like, okay. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. What I've seen so far tells me that a legit story right now. So maybe that's what we'll get. We'll see. Why do you think Dino Charge was the most decent season in Neo Saban era? There was an element of uniqueness to Dino Charge, I felt like, honestly, when it first started. I think Tyler brought a really great addition to a fresh take on a Red Ranger, somebody that you're willing to get invested in compared to compared to some of our Rangers in the past for Neo Saban. So I do think Dino Charge was a fresh take. Dinosaurs again, always a successful route to certainly go. But I don't know. I don't know if it was if they just had that much more fun and they just brought new dynamics to the show. But I really enjoyed what I got for Dino Charge, at least the very first season. So I do think a lot of that does have to come from Tyler, though, giving us a nice new interpretation of a Red Ranger. Marcelino got a question or a comment. Just an idea I had. RoboBlaze and Roxy could have worked if they had handled things differently. Maybe they get easily killed off early, but with every new life they're given, they become smarter and stronger, which makes it harder to kill them. I kind of like that idea. This in return forces the Rangers to think smarter and become stronger, or they use the fact that they can come back to life to tire out the Rangers in fights constantly. It's just an idea, not saying I'm better than the actual writers. I think they're great writers. I'm just doing this for fun. Oh yeah, no, I didn't take it that way. I mean, hey, you thought your ideas however you want to, for sure, man. But yeah, I like your idea. I really do like your idea, Marcelino. That was one of my issues that I did have with Beast Morphers in its second half, was the poor usage of both RoboBlaze and Robo-Roxy. But had they gone maybe your route, Marcelino, it might have actually worked out pretty well, because I like that idea, right? There is something important of having Power Rangers facing off against villains that are literally going to push back at them, right? That aren't going to make every win that you have absolutely easy. So I would have loved to have seen that, forcing them to now then get power-ups and things like that as the season progresses, and making sense as to why they need these power-ups, not just giving them because it's like, hey, toy sales, here you go, it's a new power-up. No, but actually giving them a meaningful reason to have to fight harder. I think that would have been absolutely great. So yeah, those are definitely one of the ways I would have done it, Marcelino. So I'm glad that you brought that up. That's a great idea. I still personally would have just continued to have had, if the season finale, season 1 of Beast Morphers, was the idea of Roxy and them infiltrating the Grid Battle Force, I really would have had them maybe download their consciousness into the real life bodies. So when they are awake, they are now evil, but in reality. And now you give the Rangers a problem that they have to solve of, how do we get our friends back without harming them in any way? And I do think that would certainly add a really smart take as to how the Beast Morphers would have to kind of tackle these villains going forward. And I think it would have been a lot more personal, right? And even the idea of maybe even them now being human, but hiding the idea that they're still evil Roxy and Evil Blaze. You know what I mean? Because listen, they brought them back and we barely saw them in season 2, except for their robo versions. I just think the execution could have probably been done a lot better in that route. But, we still got a great season out of Beast Morphers. So like you said, Marcelino, right? The writing was still there. Maybe the execution on things probably could have been a little bit better. Jessica Friedman, she says, which previously skipped Super Sentai would you like to see become the next Power Rangers? And would you like to see what past Rangers have been up to since they hang up their morphers? Absolutely. So in regards to that, the first two, if Super Sentai were to continue to be adapted, my first two right off the bat is Q Ranger, the most recent one with like the constellations and stuff. Q Ranger would be up there, and then I would even put Zoologer up there also. I wouldn't mind the idea of animals again. Give me Zoologer. Those are probably my top two. I have a fond place in my heart for Tokugers. I rather keep Tokuger to myself though. So I probably wouldn't want to adapt that as of right now. And would I like to see past Rangers what they've been up to since they hung up their morphers? Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I would love to see more cameos for these people to come back and play their roles again, if you will. I'm hoping that maybe they can bring back some of these older actors to portray their characters in animation form if they ever get that route, so we can see what they've been up to. But I also think David Yost is working on a Power Ranger project, Quantumanium or Quantum. I can't remember what he's referring to it as. Power Rangers Quantum something. But I think his idea, his premise is to examine what those current Power Rangers are certainly up to these days. And so I'm hoping that Hasbro is honestly paying attention to what David Yost is putting together. I don't know if he's actually pitched the idea to Hasbro, but it seems as though he's invested. He actually even, I think, went on Twitter this past week and maybe asked a question for research purposes. So I think he's continuing to work on the script itself. So we'll see. But thank you very much for the question, Jessica Fryman. I definitely appreciate it as always. And I think with that, guys, I think that's all the questions that we wind up having today. So thank you guys for all your participation each and every week. I'm glad to see that Dino Fury has gotten you guys all worked up and excited for certainly what's to come. And I always appreciate the opportunity to answer your guys' questions and really just to have these debates and discussions and conversations with you guys. So thank you very much for continuing to join me each and every week. And again, guys, especially if you're in the live chat, if you haven't hit that like button, boom, hit that like button, guys. It really does go a long way for our channel. And also feel free to comment after this video winds up airing if you have further thoughts or if you want to further discuss anything Power Rangers or Tokusatsu related, ladies and gentlemen. But other than that, guys, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for us today. So thank you guys so much for certainly joining us. We will, in fact, be back next weekend live every Saturday at noon Central Time, focusing on the next episode of Dino Fury and any other news that drops from Power Ranger and Tokusatsu. But and again, throughout the week, if you certainly want to go ahead and send us a question, you certainly can, guys. A+morphinominal@gmail.com, and we'll certainly get to it then. But next time I'll see you guys will probably be Tuesday for Toku Tuesday. So other than that, that'll do it for me here. If you want to follow us on social media, right here at A+, guys, you can find us on Instagram, very active over on Facebook as well as Twitter and Twitch for you gamers. I will put links in the description box below for you guys for social media and for our Patreon account if you want to support the channel. But until next time, guys, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.